Alrighty, so let's do take 2 on this, on the intro game, presuming that Carla can keep her Jeep operational. Wayne, please. I actually blame you for it. Well, because you gave Chad those dice, they rolled nothing but shit, and then Carla comes down after, Chad has exhausted all of the possible, dark karma that follows you, then it just had to start bleeding over into the real world. It was like an evil version of the Neverending Story, where, no longer here, it had to...
That is uncool.
Those are rolling against you, usually, so...
Exactly.
Yeah, but I don't know, there's an etiquette, and you don't touch another man's dice, and you don't tell somebody to roll a 1. It's just fucking rude.
And you don't pull the mask off an old Lone Ranger.
You don't tug on Superman's cape.
You don't spit into the wind.
You don't talk about Superman's cape.
You don't tug on Superman's
Oh, you don't tug. I thought you don't talk about it.
Pull the mask off an old Lone Ranger.
The listeners are like, it is an actual play. There's total digression.
All right,
So what about this story here? Actually, I do have a quick question.
Okay.
What is the name of this boat?
Oh, God damn it.
Pops' boat?
Not on here.
Yeah.
Titanic.
You know what?
The Herman Munster.
No. We're going to call it, his boat is... The Wick.
Okay.
I hear a Brodeur joke just coming in.
I'm going to try and be on my best behavior, I swear.
Everybody on my wick!
That's right.
Well, all right, now.
Dip the wick!
Why would you do that?
Guys, the wick's been in dye drop. You gotta get my wick wet. Brodeur.
Obviously, I didn't have to.
Well, there are a bunch.
Wick has been in dry
By the
dock.
time it's over, his wick will be on fire.
Well, there's a bunch of semen in my wick.
All semen out of my wick!
They'll shoot out once it's on fire.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
See, now you've, shut me down.
You're flummoxed.
No, now you've got me, trying to come up with a different name for it. I don't remember, there was somebody on our forums, or maybe it's on Facebook, who said that when I was naming my kid, I sat down with my gaming group, and we had the list of names that my wife and I had come up with, and I just went down each one and said, imagine you're second grade on the playground, or, just...
It's an NPC that I introduced to the game.
Exactly.
Right.
Brutal. And then when he finally found one where the whole group's like, we got nothing, that was the kid's name. And that was, I thought, one of the most brilliant things that I have ever heard. Okay, Chad, I've changed its name now.
Okay. I accept the challenge. What is the name?
So it is the...
Cleveland Steamer.
That is exactly, yes.
I couldn't think of anything wrong with that one.
So I'll let you have fun trying to spell it, because it is not spelled in the traditional sense. It's named after the river. So the boat is the Quiver, but not Quiver as in to shake. Quiver as in the Quiver River. So
Isn't the Quiver River spelled Quiver?
nope. It is, for starters, it is...
Don't get out that phone. We're gaming, you son of a bitch. Get out that phone.
I was using it for gaming.
That's what they all say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, there's porn in the tops of people's heads.
I was going to look up Quiver River for the appropriate spelling, I swear.
Siri, how long's a quiver?
I'll tell you right now.
With an E.
It starts with C, and then it has a whole ton of vowels. It's like Couiver or something like that. There. I have to leave you guys flummoxed. So...
I'll just misspell quiver on my character sheet, with the arrows.
That's fine.
I'll just misspell that.
That's fine. Those that are going to be the current river, which is also not spelled like the actual Corrent. It's spelled differently.
Is it spelled like the fruit?
I think actually it is, but I'm not sure. To be moving on. All right, so you guys are currently at. There is a market. It's a series of docks, and also then there is a large market there that is kept near. Well, okay, you guys all being locals. There's a landing that is down from the Gateway Arch. So, for those of you that are not native to St. Louis, the Gateway Arch, that big coat hanger sticking out of the ground, it sits sort of at the top of a little bit of a hill, and then there are these big, broad, and when I say broad, I mean very wide concrete stairs that go down toward the riverbank, and then down at the riverbank, there's obviously, well, it's paved and whatnot, and just kind of goes off into the river. And depending on the exact depth and flood stage or lack thereof of the river, it goes farther up or down that paved and cobblestone area. And that area is now a fairly popular place for boats that have the permission to do so, to tie their ships there, to use one of the docks that has been built there. And there is also it's a marketplace, but it's not the sort of marketplace as in, like, you go there to buy a handful of apples. This is more like a large merchanting marketplace. This is where big contracts get done, large amounts of freight get sold. Now, it's not to say smaller sales don't occur. That's not to say that someone who's meeting somebody to sell off 10 tons of grain might also have something special for them, the pass off something smaller, but that's not what this place is for. So when I say a market, don't picture like, kind of a generic flea market or market square. It's not like that.
It's not Soulard.
No,
it's down the road.
Yes, it's more, it's like a large market, and it's early October. So right now you're going into fall. It's cool. It's not cold, but it's cool. It does get a bit cold at night. The sky's a little bit cloudy, but from the looks of it, you guys being people who live off the land, even if the land in this case is the water, know how to read the weather. And it looks like it's going to get cloudier later in the day, may even begin to rain. And Pops, you guys, the boat, the quiver, is currently tied up. She's a 50 or 60 foot long keel boat, and she is tied to one of the floating wooden docks. And there's a fair bustle of people moving about. Most of the people here look fairly well dressed in the sense that their clothing's recently made. It's not torn. I don't mean well dressed as in they're in formal wear. These are people that are dressed more for utility than anything else, but dressed in things like heavy cotton or wool clothing, especially against the chill in the air. And these are the people that fit into the system. Okay, these are the people that are part of the industrial system and the cultural system that keeps St. Louis operating. You'd have to go further north or south of here to start to reach the areas that are less part of that cultural center and more part of the slums and the places where, the misfits and the whatnot are all about. So everyone here is, even if not well-to-do, they're tied to an organization that keeps them well enough off. And you do see amongst some of these groups, though rarely interacting directly with people like you, like the ship crews, the buyers, the sellers. And instantly there are people that are coming in from land that are bringing their wares here to be sold or to pick up shipments that have come. And so there's quite a diversity of independents that are here, people that are not directly part of this St. Louis machine that are here simply to do work for them, to move things about, to do the business of merchanting that is necessary to keep this system alive. But all of them are here at the permission or behest of one of these houses. And the house that Pops you are currently doing a deal with is you are going to take a shipment of, well, we'll just go ahead and handle this in RP. Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and set the scene here a little bit. The boat is currently unladen. You know that you are here to do a pickup. Pops has been told that he is to meet with an individual from House Color, which is one of the great houses, one of the great trade houses. And this guy's name is Cyrus.
Look at everyone fastidiously taking notes.
And so you are here to meet with Cyrus, from House Color. And you know that that's your pickup, and they've got the cargo. You know already who the seller or who the buyer is. This is not an independent sale. This is one where they're actually contracting you to move cargo. Mm-hmm. So it's guaranteed money. This is all, quite on the up. There's not a whole lot of negotiation going on here. Okay. Collar extended the contract, and they've told you that an individual by the name of Cyrus will meet you here.
Okay.
Will that cover the entire hold, or will there be...
Yes.
Okay.
Well, somewhat. It will cover the capacity of the ship. Because of the weight.
Right, and that's why I was asking.
But we still have enough room for small items like post.
Yes, exactly. You could take small items like post. What you are going to be hauling, from the purchase order or the contract request or whatever exactly it is, that you are going to be hauling primarily machine parts. All right, you get the details from Cyrus, but you'll be hauling machine parts. So if we go by volume, no, the ship will not be full. But Chad's correct. If you go by weight, right, yes, the ship will be at capacity.
And that's what I was looking for. If we would have other cargoes, we would be negotiating for. If this
now, Wayne, I will tell you this. There will be enough room left in the boat. And you do know that from a business and legal standpoint, as long as you're not interfering with or delaying their shipment, the house is not going to care what else is in there. Okay. So if you're able to get something else in that's relatively lightweight, you probably, for example, will be taking at least one bag of post with you to deliver to the destination or to the towns you stop at along the way to the destination. If you're able to get something else in there, once again, provided it's not like multiple tons of something, right, then yes, you are more than free to do that. Okay. So, all right, so Pops is going to have to go search around this rather busy, because it's relatively early in the day. It's about 10 a.m. So he's going to have to go search around this busy market and try to find somebody from House Callers, and from there find Cyrus. So that's what Pops is going to be doing. What are the four of you doing? Just give me a real quick, are you going with him? Are you going with the boat? Do you have some other thing you're chasing down? Joe, we'll start with you. Or, I'm sorry, James. Why do you have Joe written on one?
Because it's James Owen, and people call me Joe, because it's J-O.
Okay, yeah. So people call you Joe.
People call me Joe.
Because Joe is not short for James.
I know.
That would be Jim.
Because people are dumb.
Okay.
You see, James Owen, Joe, so people are dumb.
Okay. So, all right, Joe. Okay, so Joe, what are you doing?
Well, I pretty much, honestly, I'm going to do whatever it is that Pops tells me to do. If Pops wants me to stay by and watch the boat, I'll do that. If Pops wants me to come with him and watch his back, I'll do that. If Pops wants me to, if he wants to cut me loose and tell me that I'm on leave, I'll go dick around.
How long have we been on the river?
In general, or do you mean since last dock?
Since last dock. I mean, do these guys need to kind of sow their oats, or do they, or do we have work to do?
You have work to do.
Okay.
It's probably not been all that long since your previous mooring. I'm thinking you probably stopped off at Herman for a bit, which is where you got this work order. So then you just took the Missouri downstream to the Mississippi, and
Pops comes out of the boat, after everything's been tied, moored, and stuff, and he looks a little different. He looks very tired, and he kind of stands on the boat, and he looks around. He looks over the vast marketplace, and he opens his mouth, And usually this is the point where he would start saying, okay, you guys do this, you guys do this. And he lets out a really big, deep sigh, doesn't look any of you in the eye, and then walks off the boat into the market.
I call after him. Pops?
He he doesn't stop. He kind of turns his head to look at you, but then he goes and keeps going.
All right, realizing that my feet are still on the boat, I'm going to say, Captain?
He stops, and he's like, take care of it. He keeps going into the crowd.
All right, I start barking orders. I start telling people, you take care of this, you more of that, you take care of that thing. Once all that's done, the rest of you can go about your business, but stay close to the boat.
Okay, so the boat currently has a team.
Hey, Dan?
Yes.
As a player who's playing one of your NPCs, I would recommend having your guys do a perception check.
Okay. Chat has requested that you guys, this is a social perception check, or is this like perception as in like, or here if you want to write.
Perception is a skill.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Right.
Perception, does anyone have...
Do they notice something about Pops?
Okay, do they notice something about Pops? Okay, so it's going to be a basic perception with a 1d6 on it. You just and if it rolls a 6, it does explode once. Do you have any skills that you could, any competencies, incompetencies, whatever, that you think would apply to this situation?
I have the reliability and remarkable eyesight, so if it is vision-based, I don't know.
Okay,
if it'll
you
make a
cannot
difference.
critically fail then.
All right, so then I pitch one die, is that correct?
So, yes, you. Or I'm sorry, it's actually 2d6. Actually, it's 2d6. If you roll 12, you get a third die.
Yes.
And then we add our perception.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
So Brodor, Joe kills Pops with his perception. Strikes him dead.
Yeah. I'll put it this way: there are 4 basic rolls you can get here. So, the milestones that I use, which is 6 is an easy task, which is usually not even roll against unless there's some reason to think a person might fail. This would be the equivalent of one of you guys tying the knot to moor the ship. Okay, I'm assuming you're so familiar with this, we're not going to roll unless something weird's happening. So 12 would be an average task that would actually require a check. So that's kind of my default. If it's worth rolling against, we go for that. 18 is, which is what he got, is the step above that, which means he has performed a difficult task. This is like getting a bullet out of somebody that's lodged right by the heart without nicking the heart. So that's kind of the level of success he got. So it's not quite the superhuman level. He didn't just do a field surgery heart transplant, but he did do something. That is a pretty amazing success. What about the rest of you guys?
15.
15? Okay, so Wayne got a standard success. Nothing outlandish, but did get a standard success.
I got a 20.
Goodness.
Wow.
Holy crap. Okay, so you've been eagle-eyed by 2 of them.
Yeah. Well, I will. You got the 20 out, so we'll just go with you. He starts barking orders. I'm just going to take control of your game. He starts barking orders, and you're going around, and you walk by. It doesn't really have a cabin, but there's kind of like Pop's little area, and you see Martha sitting on the counter, and Pops is kind of a weird dude. He's a bit of eccentric, and he names everything. He names his fork, he names his spoon, he names the plate, and he names the pork chop that's on it. And Martha is his hat. And Pops will never go anywhere without his hat.
Okay.
In fact, you're not even sure you've ever actually seen the top of Pop's head before. And you whip around and look, and you see that bald spot fade into the crowd.
So, Brodor, there are 6 other people on the ship, 6 NPCs. The one of which, these are basically workmen on the boat. They man the oars, they do things like that. The most noteworthy of them is a middle-aged black woman by the name of Lillian Marshall. You think she's somewhere in her 40s, probably never asked impolite to ask a lady such things, but she's lived on the river longer than any of you except Pops, who's actually older than she is, but she's this rugged, tough as nails sort of woman, and then she has under her 5 individuals, and they sort of represent a team. They're hired as a team. Pops pays her. He then distributes that, or she then, distributes that money to them and such. And she handles most of their discipline now. So she is responsible to Pops, but then she kind of has her own little, okay. That is, thank you for letting me know, because that was a question.
I just saw that.
Okay. So, all right. Lillian right now, and incidentally, she's either educated or at least quite intelligent, because she does, for example, actually keep a fairly careful ship's log of navigational information, water conditions, things like that. And there's some other quirks about her that we'll let come out in the story. But Lillian's standing atop the main cabin, because the way your boat's built is you have the main hull of the ship, and the hull of that ship then, which is typically where you spend most of your time, beneath that is the cargo area. So the cargo's mostly below the waterline. And then atop that, which actually takes up about half of the ship's length, but it's positioned in the middle, there's a house. So it's like a cabin. I don't have the exact dimensions of it on me when we do the first game where you guys have your ship. I'll actually have a diagram of this. But I believe it's something in the neighborhood of 10 or 12 feet wide and about 20, 30 feet long. And it has packed into it on each side, double stacked 6 bunks. So, 3 on top, 3 on bottom, and then on the right, 3 on top, 3 on bottom. This is where you keep your personal possessions. You have foot lockers in there that keep your stuff, and this is where you would keep most of your stuff. And she's standing on top of that, which is where the mast is and where she would typically give her orders from. And she's watching you bark out all these orders, and she just stops and she's holding on to that mast, because even tied to that to the dock, yeah, there's still a sway to the boat, and so she's holding on to that and watching you with this. You're not sure if it's somewhere between. It's bemused. You don't know if it's admiration or scorn, but she has this kind of unreadable smile as she's watching you.
What was her name again?
Lillian Marshall.
How does she like to be referred to? Miss Marshall or Lillian or?
She responds to anything non-derogatory. So Lillian, Ms. Marshall, pretty much as long as you're not insulting her, she doesn't care.
Miss Lily it is.
She just drops down quite a few feet off of, a good 6 feet off of the top of that cabin, and lands with a thud of her boots against the wood of the deck. And Joe?
Yes, ma'am.
You're going to bark orders like that, and then yes, ma'am, me.
Yes, ma'am.
The captain's close enough I could spit, and I could hit him any place you picked. I could put it in his left ear and out his right ear, and ship's yours.
Yes, ma'am.
I have an Iron Man who knows what he wants.
Presumably, I noticed that Martha was still behind.
Yeah. I figured that everybody eventually, you're the first one who spotted it. And
so I'm going to go pick it up, and I'm going to say, Miss Lily? Yeah?
His head's a bit bigger than mine.
He forgot it.
Go take it to him.
Yes, ma'am. You have
put it in the post and catch him at the next stop.
you have the ship. I'm gonna go run after him.
Well, now you hear that, boys? I have the ship. How about that?
I come up to her with a notebook.
Phil, write this in your book. Get your pen out.
I already got it ready to go.
All right, write down at exactly 10:04 a.m. on this October 2nd. Lillian Marshall has the ship. Just put a blank next to it and have Joe initial off on it later.
About time, man.
And I'll enter it into the ship's log.
So, Miss Marshall, are there any supplies the ship needs? Any stores?
Well, Well, now, how about that? Somebody with a damn lick of sense. Now, yes, unless you really like drinking this river water, it's not too hard to go up there a little bit. You see the gentleman over there, way up the hill. He's got 3 people all in blue sashes. That's how he... he's kind of a jackass, but that's how he tells his people apart in the crowd, is by those sashes. Blue makes sense because the main thing he brings in is spring water from west down towards the Merrimack Springs. So go get some water from him. It's worth it. You'll be glad when we're downstream a bit that you're not drinking from the muddy.
Sounds good. I make a note. Anything else?
Check the rations, but provided they're all good, the strip's short enough from what I've seen that I don't think we're going to go hungry.
All right. And I rush off the boat up the hill.
Don't forget Joe's initials.
I say, I'm gonna go too, Mama Lil.
Mama now. I'm getting all kinds of promotions. I get the boat. All right. Just don't go acting like no damn animal.
Okay. I'll follow Joe.
All right, I'm gonna run down Pops then.
Okay, Pops, you hear feet running up the quite loudly. If you're heard anyone run down a wooden dock, you...
Pops is near the end of the dock, and he kind of keeps going. You catch up to him, and he stops, and he turns around, and then you're catching up too. And like, there's only one way off the dock. Well, there's a bunch of ways off the dock. The dry way off the dock is the way you're going. So, yeah, you all catch up with him. And he turns around, and he looks at you.
Present your hat.
He takes it, and he goes, Pecos, he calls. He actually has, like, rotating names for you guys. Today is Pecos for you. Pecos puts it on top of your head, and it's, like, too big. And he's like, you take care of it. And he turns around and he keeps walking. And you know Pops is weird. But there is something off about
Pops,
his weirdness today.
you're coming back, right?
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, we gotta move these machine parts down. Yeah.
All right. Well, Miss Lily has the ship, so me and the rest of the crew, we're gonna, I don't know, just kind of see the sights.
He stops for a moment. We're still doing scrap for money, right?
Mm-hmm.
He
Well, it's not scrap, but it's assorted parts.
sort of parts, yeah.
Yes.
He takes out a pouch and he reaches into it and he takes out looks like a stainless steel spring, a handful of like very nice nuts and bolts, and some aluminum roofing nails. And he kind of passes, and you know that this is like trade goods, so to speak. He's like, he hands each of you a little bit. He's like, why don't you boys just go get yourself a drink before we head out? Now take care.
I immediately hand mine to Joe.
All right, I'll tip my new hat back, and Joe just kind of stares a bit confused at the back of Pops's bald pate while Pops walks away. You know, kind of loses him in the crowd.
Hey, Joe, can I get your initials here? You don't need to read it, just sign it.
Do I know what he has?
You can't read.
You can't read.
But do I have any sort of, quote unquote, street smarts to determine what that is? Have I seen this form before? Do I know what that
It's
is?
handwritten in my notebook.
Oh yeah, sure. Here you go.
Street smarts. You're the guy who signed a contract selling
Not yet.
2 families.
This is years prior to that blunder.
Yeah.
This he questioned.
So in this session, you're going to receive a blunt head wound. Gotcha.
Well, never did much need for reading.
All right, so after I have a signature, I close the book, and I head up the hill, try to make a deal on water.
Okay. Mortimer is headed with Pops. Joe, now that you have that, are you going off?
I'm gonna go find a drink.
Okay. So Mortimer, there's one of the things that the houses have no choice but to allow, but probably would anyway, is these necessary facilities for the people that are coming and going from this part of town. And so there is something of a flop house. It's really, honestly, not a whole lot more than a hostel with a restaurant and some liquor. But, and by restaurant, I mean, think this is much more of an open tavern. But it's a place that is meant at least for dry land, and it's not uncommon for people to go in there to pick up a drink, to make some deals, to play some cards, do a little gambling, to pick up a whore. And so that is right there.
Well, I'll belly up to the proverbial bar. And,
Okay. You know this place is Old Man Mortimer's.
All right.
And that's... not Mortimer.
Yeah.
Mortimer.
Yeah.
With an R. So this place is Old Man Mortimer's, and you will never guess who runs this place.
Steve?
Yes. That's right. A young guy, Steve. No. So there is the gentleman that runs it. I'll put it to you this way. He's really not quite capable of running it, but this place has been around long enough and makes enough money that he has hired out a good amount of muscle to keep the place safe, to keep it stable, to make sure he's not getting ripped off, because he really can't tell what he's being handed between failing eyesight and senility and such. But as you come in, this hunched over man, he might have been 6 foot back in his day. He's now maybe a little over 5 feet tall. He's wearing a heavy leather apron that actually looks something more like a butcher or workman's apron. You have no idea why he is wearing one. And underneath that, he has a buttoned-up shirt and these pants that are about 3 sizes too big, and they're cinched up with a rope about midway up his rib cage. And he shuffles as soon as you walk in and says, "There you are. I've been expecting you for the past 2 hours.
I'm sorry, sir. You've been expecting me?
Did you bring that damn fish I loaned you?"
I'm sorry, sir. I think you've got me mistaken for somebody else. I did not. We've never met.
Larry?
No, I'm Joe. Well, James, but people call me Joe.
Unless you owe me money, then I'm Larry.
That doesn't make a damn bit of sense, but I'll take your word for that. He turns to a guy that's following him around, who's got a neck about as big around as your thigh, and says, "Steve, is that Larry?" "No, Mr. Mortimer, that's not the person you're looking for." "All right, then. So, what'll it be?"
Do you have any fish?
Funny you should ask about that.
I'm sorry, sir. I was just making a joke. I'd like a drink. I'll have a...
He smacks you upside the head.
Ow!
Don't you interrupt me. I was telling you a story. Now, funny thing about that with fish, you see, I loaned Larry a fish, but think, young man, if I loaned Larry a fish, what does that mean I have?
Well, no. Well, that would mean
I had fish to loan.
I look, begging for some sort of respite from Steve.
Steve is trying very, very hard to look intimidating, even though he has no idea who he is intimidating or precisely why. But he cannot break character. He's paid good money not to.
Well, I'm certain, sir, that you have fish.
Now that's smart thinking. Because I tell you what, Jamie Joe, these damn fish come from a river, and every one of you assholes that comes in stinking of that river always has fish, except that damn Larry.
Well, Mr. Mortimer, I promise you, if I see Larry, I will let him know that you're looking for your fish.
Oh, you wallop him one good.
Yes, sir, I sure will. So
A
about
wallet for a walleye. That's what I always say.
I'll take that drink now
for
if I
a
could,
trout.
sir.
Right. The drink that you came here to borrow. What was it you needed it for?
I came here to barter for the drink, sir. I came here to purchase it.
To purchase a drink.
Yes, sir.
So what you need it for is getting drunk.
I guess that's what people get drinks for. Yes, sir.
You should have just said so.
Well then, sir, and I slam my hand down on the bar. I'm here to get drunk.
All right. Well, what are you wanting to barter with?
I'll pull out my pile of scrap. I assume that even though I am guileless and gullible, that I still have some semblance of how barter and scrap works.
Well, and there is a coinage economy that St. Louis is trying to get to catch on. So you may be there is still a barter system,
right?
And especially in this marketplace, it's a great place for this barter system because honestly, you have a handful of stainless steel metal nails.
Right.
Guess how useful that is to somebody else's boat.
I'll slide a nail, just a single nail. I'll slide it across the bar, or whatever this table is that we call a bar.
Larry gets in real close, looks at that single nail, takes a wooden carved cup down, takes out a bottle of you don't know what, some kind of
It is water that is literally on fire.
This is like fermented frack, and
That's black drink.
and he pours like 2 drops in this cup.
All right, I'll put a couple more nails out for him.
Look, I saw the pouch. Are you looking to get drunk?
Fine, here, I'll just put the pouch out. What do you need?
He gives you the full bottle.
All right, fair enough. I'll grab my roughly hewn wooden cup and my bottle, and I'll throw back my first one and see what happens.
Okay, you drink this stuff. You don't think, despite its appearance and scent, that this actually is dangerous to drink, except insofar as the fact that it is highly alcoholic. This is well over 100 proof, whatever it is. You're not. This is probably some kind of like corn mash shine, but it's whatever it is. It's way over 100 proof.
All right, well, thank you, Mr. Mortimer.
He turns to the big bull-necked guy with him and says, I tell you what, 1 bottle of hooch to put out a hit on Larry, that's a good deal.
All right, well, I'm gonna leave my wooden cup behind, and I'm gonna man up and just drink from my bottle and start strolling the street.
Okay, so he's now liquoring, rolling the streets. Mortimer, are you with him, or did you stick with Pops?
I think Pops kind of shooed me away, so I'm actually with Joe.
Okay,
correct?
So you're observing. Okay, well, you're observing all this. Yeah. So feel free to get involved at any point you like.
So we
Pass you the bottle. I keep forgetting that we're actually recording for an audience, and so they can't see my hand gestures. Yeah.
all right. I give it a smell. Recoil. Ooh, smells like Pop's feet. Then I take a drink. Tastes like Pop's feet too.
Sometimes Pop seems a good feet looking.
Well, from what Old Man Mortimer says, I drink a few more of these, I'm going to get real confused on your names. But what the old man version of you said, that this will get the job done.
And I thumb back and I go, didn't he say we have to kill Larry now?
Mortimer is off talking to some other customer about...
Man's word is his bond. The man's crazy.
Mortimer's off talking to another customer about this particularly aggressive group of birds that show up at exactly 5:30 every night. And seeing that he's kind of walked away, this bull, that's what we're going to call, well, Steve, the big old bull dude, he walks over to you, puts this huge meat hock of a hand on your left shoulder, and what if I have a drink of that there?
Well,
I can trade you some real valuable information for it, help you sleep a little better.
Forgive me, was it Steve?
Sure.
Steve, I'm a bit confused. I paid for this bottle of hooch.
I see. All right.
I mean, you can have a drink, and I'll pass him the bottle.
It's good for, he takes the bottle from you, says it's good for friendship. And he takes a pull. He does not like slam the bottle. He just takes he takes a draw on it,
right.
Hands it back to you. So he's not taking that much at all. It's like, Larry's been dead for 12 years. And he turns around and goes back to following Mortimer.
Oh, good. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah. If you ever come back here, I'll owe you the drink.
All right, then. I'll take another swig. Oh, Jesus Christ.
You're used to wine.
And then I'll pass it back to Motamar.
Smell it again, see if it's changed at all.
Nope.
Nope. I'll take another drink.
Whatever they've told you about wine needing to breathe, it ain't helping this.
You think we should take this back to the boat? Share it with the rest of the crew?
This isn't breathing, it's suffocating.
It might clean the boat.
Well, let's continue to just meander around the market and look at the people. I mean, it's pretty fascinating. I assume that we have been here before.
Yes, it's a fairly constantly changing scene.
Right. So it's, what's new, et
Sure.
cetera. Sure.
It's like any market like this where there are some things that never change.
And some trade is seasonal.
Precisely. Some trade is seasonal, some people come and go, but there are things like Old Man Mortimer's, which are always there and everybody knows about, and, it's whatever. And, well, not that they're bothering you, but the actual soldiers of St. Louis's standing army, there are some of them about keeping an eye on things. They're fairly easy to spot because they have machine-made metal armor, and they're all carrying either bolt action or semi-automatic rifles. Think something kind of World War II-ish in terms of its technology level. But you can see them standing around. They all look. Occasionally you'll see something more, so like a masked one or something. But yeah, it's a scene you're quite familiar with. You've been here many times.
All right.
Phil, you reach the crest of the hill, where from below the where you were before, so down at the docks, you could only see a handful of these individuals that Lillian mentioned in their blue sashes, and they're wearing a variety of wool and cotton clothing, leather overcoats. Some of them have bows, spears, various makeshift weapons. None of them are being brandished right now, because doing so would be a quick way to get yourself in trouble at best, shot at worst. But they do have carts that are being pulled by horses, just regular horses, and they do have on the back of them what you'd recognize as large, kegs, except in yours carry wine. These are presumably carrying water.
I'm gonna look for someone that looks like a businessman, someone I can try to make a deal with.
Well, if you simply observe the way that people are talking, it appears that there is a younger-ish couple. Okay, so maybe in their 30s. They're kind of weather-worn and look a little bit worse for the wear. But there's a guy with short cut, unevenly cut, but as best as you can do under these conditions, short cut brown hair, kind of a short cut brown beard, and then a raven-haired woman that's with him. They are either married or business partners, one of the two, but everyone else in the caravan keeps deferring everything to them. So you can, every question, every comment, every business proposal, you can see people keep going back to them, and they're the only two in there that are not wearing these blue sashes.
Okay. I don't want to deal with the middlemen, so I'm going to try to go directly to them.
Okay. You got to go to the man or the woman? They're actually fairly close to each other. I'm just curious which one you will.
Woman.
Woman. Okay. Dark-haired woman. She is dressed in a pullover top that has sort of loose collar to it. She has a revolver on her hip. You have no idea if it's even loaded or even works, but she has it, and is not carrying a whole lot of equipment. The few times she seems to need or want something, including the knife she grabbed to cut the apple that she is currently chewing on, she went back to one of the carts and opened a leather pack to get it from. So she, at the moment, appears to be fairly, traveling light. And so she sees you approaching, and your character, you're 18 at this point, but it's society where people grow up rather fast. So,
Yep. I've got my notebook. I've got my.
She sizes you up, and as you get closer, she sizes you up and says, "What's it gonna be?
Oh.
Buying, selling, looking for a job?"
I'm looking to buy, and looks to me like you're the person in charge here.
She leads you a step or two away and kind of pulls you around to the side of one of the carts and says, "Yeah, don't let my husband hear you say that, but you married?"
No, but I've got a lot of aunts and uncles and a big family, and I can tell when the wife runs the business.
Sharp kid. I can. Well, and either you read and write, or you like to pretend you can.
I do.
It's a sharp angle either way.
I need some water for my boat.
How much water?
Whatever. Let's see. What do you think? 2 barrels?
Yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
For a short trip. Keep in mind that, I mean, what does an oat barrel carries in about 50 gallons? Something in that neighborhood. It's ish.
Yeah, whatever the appropriate amount of 1 barrel, 2 barrel, whichever.
Yeah, probably for a short trip this short, 1 or 2 barrels.
2 barrels.
2 barrels. All right. Well, came a long distance. I tell you what I'm going to do for you. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name, young man.
Philip,
Philip, I'm Diane. She shakes your hand.
nice to meet you.
Has a good strong grip to it. Philip, I tell you what I'm going to do for you. She's wait here 1 second. She goes back around to the pouch or the pack that she's been taking stuff out of, comes back with a bottle, clear, transparent bottle, clear bottle, and holds it up between, like holds it up such that it catches the morning sun, but positions it such that you can see it. And looking through, this water is clean. I mean, it is what today we would say, I mean, this looks like tap water. And this is clean water. She pops it open. Take a pull of that.
Thank you. I take a drink from it. I look at the bottle closely. That is some clean water.
It is, and that's why I want you to understand the quality that it is that you're attempting to purchase right here. So you're offering what for this precisely?
I look through my notebook again. First, I'll offer. I reach the my pouch of what I got from Pops, which I'm assuming will be nowhere near enough for this, but.
No, in fact, actually, I was expecting you to barter in this game. So, give me 1 second here. I'm actually pulling up a economic thing. So
because I did check the ship stocks, and I would have.
Well, the ship once again does, even if it's not yours, the ship does have coins to it. Yep. So if you have Pop's clearance to go buy something, then
Pop clears nothing. But what? You bought water? That's not whiskey.
Water is the poison.
Okay, so hold on, I'm trying to get a sense of how much what is worth. Oh, I definitely misheard. Like, why is a backpack has a broader value of 50 grand? Because it's right beneath GC Horse. That's why it's actually 450.
And would this be a good time to make a appraisal roll?
Yes.
Because that's my reliable skill.
Let's see, we're talking... Oh, actually, here, I actually have a price on this. So for this much... Barrel, filled with clean water... You think this is going to go for a... Your best estimate is this is worth... You're paying here for quality, you're not paying for the item itself.
Right.
And so you think this is probably going to be worth something in the range of 10 to 15 coins a barrel.
Okay. How about 15 for 2 barrels?
15 for 2 barrels. How about 15 per barrel?
About 20 for both.
Yeah, I'm curious.
I expect to be. I expect return visits.
Oh,
Be here.
so you're going to be a return customer.
Yeah.
Well, then how about 25 for the pair, but next time you visit, I will throw in 1 for free.
That sounds like a pretty good deal to me.
All right, gentlemen, where's your ship?
I pointed down and pointed out on the dock.
All right, gentlemen, 2 barrels. Roll them down to that ship. She holds out her hand, and
I would assume I would have, since I'm going up to negotiate, I would have grabbed things to bring and pay her out.
All right, you pay her out the 25 coins. She kind of thumbs through them real quick, puts them in a pocket, and says, "Pleasure doing business with you, Philip, and I look forward to seeing you again."
Same here. Anything to indicate the free barrel next time? I'd hate if you say weren't working that day and your husband wouldn't realize I had a free one coming.
All right. So that's a fair thing to ask. She takes the pistol out of her holster,
and shoots you. There's your receipt, asshole.
Opens it up, and pulls out one of it's actually an empty cartridge. So it's this particular bullet's been expended. You don't know if they all are,
Okay.
but this one's just an empty cartridge. She closes the gun back up, puts it back in her holster, and she goes back to her pouch. She takes a knife, and she makes a series of scores across the cartridge.
Okay.
And she takes it back to you, and she holds it up and says, "All right, I want you to see something. If you hold this cartridge up right here, you'll notice this score right here shows the top of the arch. This score right here shows the river line. And this score right here and right here shows the position of each of us as we are looking at it. So here is as close as I can give you to a picture of this scene."
Okay. It's a pleasure doing business with you, man.
And with you, and I look forward to seeing you again. Pops,
Yes.
where are you headed?
I am sitting on the bottom stair of the two staircases that lead up to the arch.
Yeah.
I am sitting on the bottom stair, and I have got a piece of wood, and I am whittling it. I'm carving. It's about a couple of inches long, inch so wide, and I'm carving a form out of it. I have not yet gone up the stairs.
Okay.
Make the deal.
As you are sitting on the stairs, someone sits down next to you. It's a guy wearing a pullover coat. It's a long, leather, oiled, you can tell both by the smell and by its appearance. It's oiled against the rain coat. He's got riding boots on that are muddy, which is kind of odd because it actually, while it looks like it might rain later today, it actually hasn't rained in a little bit. So you're not sure why they're muddy. And when he looks at you beneath the hood, you see a sight that's become a bit too familiar, which is this pair of its darkened tinted lenses built into a leather wraparound set of goggles. And he looks gaunt, he looks kind of pale. He's always looked this way to you, yet despite the fact that the Rat Man appears perpetually ill, he never seems to fail to get around, and you've never actually seen any sign that he actually is ill or weakened. And he sits next to you in silence for a moment, unless you say something to him immediately.
Nope.
Nice. So what you carving there, Pops?
A rat.
Carving a rat. I like your style. Not sure what the implication is, but I like your style. I just wanted to let you know this is going to be an easy one. It's already going to be in there. You just make sure that the shipment that you're taking, it gets to the right place, gets to the right people, and the right people will be in place to sort it out. They'll know what goes where. Make sure it all ends up in the right hands, and your payment will be waiting for you. It's going to be the easiest thing you've done. Easier than waking up this morning.
You interrupts him. Why are you trying to sell me this bullshit? Every time it's a sales pitch with you. I ain't buying, you ain't selling, you're telling.
Okay, then I'm telling if you like. But what I'm telling, it is really going to be easy. That's not a lie, it's not a sales pitch. And it is going to make you money. That's not a lie, that's a sales pitch. Maybe I'm telling you the truth. Maybe I'm telling you the truth just like the sun and the rain. They keep the crops growing. I keep you growing. I keep you watered. I keep you warm.
You are a snake oil salesman.
Be that as it may.
Let's do this, you son of a bitch. He gets up and starts slowly trotting up the stairs.
He's waiting for you. He doesn't even know who he is.
Who's waiting for me? The devil? In hell? Fuck you. He continues up the stairs.
You don't make it more than a few stairs up before a guy older than you are. Definitely has not done a lot of traveling. He's wearing gentler clothes. There's a gentler look to his face. Rounded features, a bit overweight, and I don't mean in that barrel-chested, muscular sort of farm boy look. No, I mean he's like sat on his ass quite a bit, eaten a bit too much. He has a pair of thin-rimmed spectacles, and he's got a book in his hand, and he's got a fountain pen with him, and everything about him, from the buttons on his shirt to the clasps that are on his shoes, almost like buckles on his shoes, not boots, shoes. This is a man who you can tell he's part of the system. And
Pops lets out a long, deep, protracted sigh.
And he, upon seeing you, he opens his book and scurries, having to watch his step quite carefully. This is definitely not the sort of guy, not an athletic man, not a guy who climbs the stairs often. Watching his steps quite carefully, makes his way down to you and says, are you Mr. He flips on a few pages, Mr. Reeve?
Yes.
Mr. Reeve, shipment on behalf of House Color, 14.75 tons of machine parts. I have the exact labeling on I'll give it to you on the
Slow
manifest.
down, son. Take a breath. Don't take a bite. You've had too many already.
Pops is a dick.
I like Pops.
Yes, Mr. Eve. Your ship, she can handle 15 tons, right?
Is it a true statement?
Yeah, that is an accurate statement.
Yes.
All right. It's going to be a little under that. If there's nothing in my paperwork that says you can't round that out if you want, but 14 3/4 we've got set up. I have a manifest here. Each one describes the weight of the container, the volume of the container, and a marking for the container. They can verify it on receipt. Take it downstream. Payment. It's all written out here. It's waiting for you as long as the inventory arrives as described. They'll weigh it here with you so that you know that you're departing with what you're expected to arrive with, and the paperwork will be here. If there's any disagreement, then they'll either be able to settle it down here, or if it gets really bad, they can settle it with me on the return trip. So if you want to come with me to your boat, we can start loading up and hopefully have you on your way within the hour. Do you have some affairs you need to settle here in town?
He takes his thumb and puts it on the right side of his nose and goes, and he spits this huge wad of disgusting phlegm right into the middle of his book, slaps it shut, and says, "Let's go." And he starts walking down the stairs.
He kind of nervously looks around, like looking for some kind of help, or this is the I need a manager moment, except there is no manager. And so he follows behind you, scurrying along with his books. Mr. Reeve, I'm not sure that was necessary. We're
He completely ignores him.
gentlemen and businessmen here, and
Pops is actually keeping a lookout for these guys.
as you see them, they're outside of. There's a sort of inn tavern, like I said.
Are they getting drunk?
One of them is. Joe's
A
definitely.
shadow comes over you.
And as the shadow comes over you, you hear this crescendoing voice just by virtue of getting closer. I'm not sure that we're both businessmen, and I'm keeping you
Suddenly you
employed.
feel
and
something grab your ear.
I'm
Ow, 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 ow.
Oh, I guess
Ow, Pops. If I wasn't drunk, this would really hurt.
I said, have a drink. We have work to do.
This is a bottle.
He takes a drink. This ain't shit. Hands it to you.
okay.
Okay. Ow, ow. I can walk on my own.
You watch him. And he points to the fat guy.
I can tell you're the underachiever.
Yep.
He turns back to Joe and says, I have two sons too, and there's one of them I care if he gets drunk, and one of them I don't.
I'm his only son. Ow.
Do I see him?
If you not immediately here, he's off to the side. You can see him with a work gang of about four big, broad-shouldered guys that are rolling what appear to be full barrels down toward the dock, and he's with them. And I don't know what do you book out, book not out. I don't know what exact.
Yeah, so I got the book out. I'm always making kind of notes of things I see, and I'm kind of looking around the docks to see if there's anything else kind of noteworthy around. But yeah, book out, kind of
You see this
watching load.
cavalcade coming up. He is not really.
Right.
Yeah, it's more of a gentle sort of thing. He's a big softy. But he's like, okay, you two get to work.
Pops, we get the cargo coming?
Yep. This guy here with spit in his book has got all the details.
Well, fortunately, this all has to be overseen by a third party, so if you're their bookkeeper, go ahead and open it about right to the middle where the great big phlegm wad is.
You can go ahead and open it. I'll stand over your shoulder.
No. This is 100% yours.
I take the book.
I sniff it. That's Pops.
Of course it's Pops.
Oh, what? I didn't think. Oh, that's disgusting.
Joe's looking green.
So's the phlegm.
Disgusting.
This is not the first time Pops has tried to rattle one of these guys. You know he hates landlubbers.
I look over and say, how can I read this with this gunk on it?
I guess you're going to have to wipe it off.
I hand you the book.
I'll just wipe it off with my hand.
Thank you.
Splat.
I told you I have 2 sons too. There's one I don't mind doing that either.
He slapped this bitch.
In order?
I mumble under my
Out of
breath.
character.
I mumble under my breath. Somebody slept with this guy?
That's bullshit.
All right, so if
Who bought the fancy water? God damn it, it rains for free!
they're loaded onto the ship right now.
You'll appreciate it when we're down the river.
Lillian comes walking the dock. She's like, I appreciate it already.
I show her the page. I got your initials.
So, remind me later. I've got, Phil. I've got something. I'll tell you about a little secret, survival secret for making it on these waters. I'm going to teach you.
All right.
Yeah, you guys have fun with that. We'll be not rowing.
All right. I go over the
Okay, there's
details.
there are individuals from House Color waiting there at the dock. They have a wagon that's got several crates, bags. Each of them has been painted with what looks like stenciled paint. I mean, this for this, fairly sophisticated stuff within context. And each of them is marked, and within the book, there's a list of a description of the container, a description of its weight. They do actually have a set of scales there that they use to weigh each one out, and then they pass it off to be loaded by Lillian's men onto the boat.
I check every detail. I watch them weigh it and make notes down to make sure that the weight is exactly as it says.
Yeah.
As best as I can tell from the wet paper.
And once it's all done, and it takes a little bit to go through, but it's done within about 30 minutes or so. At the end of it, he says, well, if you wouldn't mind signing the manifest and then take it with you and present it at the port of call, you will be delivering this to Saint Genevieve.
Okay. I sign the paper.
Oh, go ahead, tear it out. It's all yours. Hell, you can have the page before it. That one's settled.
New book.
Yeah. I tear the page out and give him back the book.
Enjoy. Cretins. And
So I come on board and I go looking for Pops.
as then House Colors Group, which has workmen but also does have a pair of soldiers on one mast with them, that never says anything but just watches this whole thing occur. And as Cyrus, the round-headed guy, is walking off, he's like, they'd shoot people if they did this to you. And he just walks on off, mumbling under his breath.
Pops is on the front of the boat, the bow, I think.
Yeah, that's bow.
Yeah, bow.
Pops?
Pops is working something. He's like, I've got the family and out. And you can see, you know what the family is. The family is he's got this pouch of small woodworking tools. Like he's not going to make cabinets. It's for little whittling and stuff. And he occasionally makes little figures. He gives them to kids and that sort of thing. And he turns around and he sits down on the edge of the boat and he looks up at you. It's like he's holding a small wooden rat, and it's stylized. It's not realistic, right? And it's sort of like a roundish, almost cube-looking thing, but it's definitely a rat. And he's just finishing it, and he's doing the eyes, and he carves. He takes out like what looks like the wrong tool, like too big of a tool, and for the eyes, he just scratches in 2 X's.
You know, Pops, if you made pretty animals, you could probably sell those.
He looks at you and Pops is weird. Pops is an eccentric guy, and he's always moving, he's always shouting at stuff, and if he's on land, he's always angry. When he's on his boat, he's always happy. And he's neither right now. And he looks at you, and this is the most serious he has ever looked at you in your whole life. You have always felt he acknowledged you, he's nice to you, he's kind to you, you like him, but you don't think he's ever actually looked at anyone. He's always looking past someone and shouting orders, and he's on to the next thing. He's always go, go, go. And it's like he's stopped, and he's looking right in your eyes. And it is very uncomfortable. You've never had this before. He's like, I want you to have this. I want you to keep it.
Okay.
Do you take it?
Yeah. I kind of look it over. What's
And
this
then all
for?
of a sudden he gets up and he starts shouting orders. He starts at you, at you, at everybody. He's like getting people moving. He's like, I want to set off in 15 minutes. Let's go. There is easily an hour's worth of work here.
Yeah.
But he wants to see some spring in people's stuff.
I look at Miss Lily and say, well,
Hey, you heard the man.
yeah.
Fuck it. All we have to do is untie from land. The rest of it we can do in the water.
All right.
Hope you like moving boxes.
Adjust my Martha a little bit and, get to work as best I can.
All right. Start clearing the moorings. Let's get ready to push off. Get the poles.
Lily!
Yes, sir.
He points to the top mast. There is no flag on my mast. And you were about to pull up.
Run up the reeve. Run up the crest.
Well,
I'm not climbing that mast right now.
I'm staying out of the way so I don't screw anything up.
As Lily's walking past you to go and make sure that someone runs up his family crest to the top of the mast, she doesn't shove you hard, but she gives you sort of the drunk check push. So, give me a body test.
Okay.
So it's going to be 2d6
2d6
plus body.
if you're so drunk you're going to fall overboard, best to do it now.
That is a 12.
Okay, you do fall, but you manage to catch the fall. It's like you don't stay on your feet, but you don't totally
Bite it, right.
Bite it. So you kind of like stumble for a second, trip over your own feet, but you manage to land on like your hands and knees and
Okay.
sort of after a moment figure out which is the actual waves and which isn't, and then get yourself back together and stand back up.
All right, I'll kind of choke down the nausea and stand back up and just watch her walk away because I'm not sure what happened. I'm not sure if that was deliberate or if it was an accident, and so I'm not going to push her.
So, all right, they get the ropes cleared, and pretty soon they push off from they turn the rudder. They use poles to push away from.
Right. Who's on the rudder?
Lily usually is.
All right. Well, then I'm not, because my intention was to usurp the rudder, but given what just occurred, I have second thoughts, and I will not try to take the rudder from her.
If you actually even come back to look, she just takes one look and she's like, Ain't no drunk ass touching my rudder. You come back when you're sober and you can do a shift.
Look at, so Pops took the bottle, right? He didn't give it back, correct?
I handed it to him.
All right.
I'm just holding it.
All right. Well, then my intention is to go back to Motomar and get the bottle back.
Role play it out.
So I walk over and reach for the bottle.
No. Go ahead, Joe. I didn't touch it. Nobody else drank out of it.
All right. Then I'll tip back my hat and I'll kind of look over my shoulder and cast a glare at Miss Lily and say, "It's going to be a while." Take another
And the
drink.
shadow falls over behind.
Oh, come on, Pops! You gave me the hat. I'm celebrating.
Are we on? We're on water.
Yes. That you are. Yeah,
Pops
you have
looks at-
just set out.
Pops looks over at land, and then he looks over at the river, and you can see him just kind of go, "You can have one." And then he walks off. And the shadow recedes.
All right. I will very respectfully take a very long, hard pull out of it, and then I'm going to stop at a random crewman and pass him the bottle
Okay.
and tell him it's his.
Lily, as she's sitting at the back, it's not a very big boat, so I mean,
Right.
you can see each other at almost. It's a very. These trips are intimate, whether you want them to be or not.
Right.
It's just how it works, and so Lillian, seeing you when we're standing there, she says, "Mowgli, why don't you come back here a minute?"
Yes, ma'am.
I just called you Mowgli. Do you even have the damnedest idea what the hell a Mowgli is?
Nope.
Didn't think so. Should ask somebody. You know what? Are you feeling brave?
Sure.
I want you to ask Pops who or what a Mowgli is, and whether you are one.
Okay. Mowgli.
All right. Now, Mowgli, you know what I like about you? You're simple.
Now,
Some people say that's an insult to be a simple person, right? But it's not. Because a simple person's all kinds of bullshit. Now, you've helped them with the ropes, right?
yeah.
Okay. So, which is easier to work with? A rope that's straight, has a nice knot in it, or a rope that's all tied up, wound up on itself, you can't even tell where it begins or ends?
I hesitate. Counting on my fingers.
There's no math in this, Mowgli. I just want you to picture this.
Get a little faint, starts to bleed a little. Don't laugh, you're the dumb one.
No, I'm the gullible one. There's a
Gullible.
difference.
Okay.
Nah.
The straight one?
Yeah, that's right. Because it's the simple rope.
The entire crew starts.
Because it's the simple rope, Mowgli. It's the rope that ain't got no bullshit to it. And that's what I like about you, is you ain't got no bullshit to you, right?
No, ma'am.
I know what you did. I don't maybe know what you're going to do, but I do know you're not going to do it to me. And everything about you, it makes sense, right? It's not always pretty,
No.
but it makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's what I like.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Joe, he's a little more confused. Phil, he's a lot more confused. Pops, we'll see. Pops, he pays the bills, so he's whatever it is he says he is. As long as those pouches keep coming, as long as we keep putting good work, then Pops is whatever it is Pops wants to be. He's complex, he's simple, he's good, he's bad, he's all of it, right?
Right.
See? That's that simplicity. I bet you someone like, one of these other idiots would try to argue and say, no, Pops is like this or Pops is like that. No, it's complicating things. It's adding knots that don't need to be there. It's like rolling a rope around in your hand and making a big mess of it. And Mowgli, you don't do that.
Nope.
All right. Then you go ask Pops what a Mowgli is, and you know what that's going to happen? Because there's something important. I want to give you a task. I'm going to give you a task
Sure.
for as long as you live.
Yep.
All right, may not be very long, but for as long as you live, I'm going to give you a task. You learn something new every day. Something new every day. And I want you to notice, I want you to think, oh, I didn't know that. Somebody tells you, oh, this leaf means it's this kind of tree. I want you to note to yourself, oh, yeah, I learned that today. And today what you're going to learn is you're going to find it from somebody on this boat. and it's probably going to need to be somebody that can read. So that right there narrows it down to like, I don't know, not many people. What a Mowgli is.
Yes, ma'am.
And why you are one.
Gotcha.
All right. And that's what
And
you
then come back and tell you? Or
Why not?
all right.
All right.
I got it.
As soon as he walks off, he's going to come back and tell me, you give me that fucking bottle.
I passed it off, man. I'll run away. I'll run track it and say,
Yeah.
I need it for Miss Lily.
If you don't like swimming, you get that back.
Miss Marshall, you said you had a life lesson to teach me.
Oh.
Come back this evening.
All right.
And don't get no ideas. It ain't that kind of life lesson. I just mean I can't do it while I'm doing the.
Yeah. Talk slower, dude.
It's not.
You're a busy woman right now.
Catch me when I'm not on the rudder.
I come back with the bottle. I'll take the rudder.
All right. You want to take the rudder? You got to pass one little test.
Yes, ma'am.
How many fingers am I holding up? She slaps you straight across the face. Do you want to give me a check to see if you can catch it and block it? Because that's the test she's giving you.
No, I'll take the hit.
Okay, you just... the 5 fingers spoke to the face.
Miss Lily, that's the second time I've been hit in the face in the last 2 hours.
Stop bringing your dumb ass on this boat drunk. It would be great if somebody could man the rudder right now, because I need 6 people on the oars, and guess what? I got 5 people, me makes 6, and I'm on the damn rudder.
Yes, ma'am.
And you don't know which way's left or right. Well, and you're also drunk. But you
I'll slack my shoulders and I'll go pick up an oar.
At least you're being useful. What are you writing that stupid book, Philip?
I open the book and I show her the write-up I have on for St. Louis this last time. The name of the person I bought the water from, the details of their business that I found, and it's just notes about the business.
Just hold the rudder straight for a second.
I hold it,
She starts paging through it.
and she'll find everywhere we've been, I have notes on the town and
Yeah,
things
she
about it.
pages through it. She's clearly literate, and she's either a fast reader or she's skim reading. You don't know which, but she's paging through it pretty quickly. And after a few minutes, she hands it back to you and takes the rudder again, and says, "Phil, I don't know what the hell the good Lord has for you, but here's something else. You keep keeping that stuff. You have no idea what you've got in that book."
Thank you.
All right, let's take a quick break. I need to pee and grab a drink. And then you guys can keep role playing amongst yourselves if you want, or if you guys need a break. Is everyone take a break? This all pause the recording. If not, then we'll.
I was just going to tell salacious stories about you.
Okay.
Just outright lies.
I could have a pee and get a glass of
Okay,
water
as
well.
long as someone is vamping, so the audience isn't bored, I'll leave this on.
Anyone who leaves this table, I'm going to start telling horrible lies about.
Okay.
So just don't tell the story about my distended colon because it's really embarrassing.
Fair enough.
But we can talk about how it happened?
Yeah. I watched a documentary once.
Just don't tell the Jolly Rancher story.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
You looked it up?
No.
I
he-
told
he
him.
told
Oh.
me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's got me working.
So even on an unrated show, I can't tell the Jolly Rancher story.
No, nobody should ever tell that story.
All right. So what kind of story should we tell? What was your first car, Wayne?
1987 Buick Skyhawk.
Was this the one that you did the jump over the...
Yep.
All right.
I'm pretty sure I've told stories about that one.
Yeah.
I had the musical horn installed in it. I named it Kit. I jumped things in it. It never worked right again.
Yeah. All to impress a girl.
Yeah, of course.
And you didn't get anywhere with girl.
No,
right? No, of course not. Because that really actually doesn't work.
Do you have to actually ask the question?
It's not about you. It's about... That doesn't work with a girl. Okay, so...
What doesn't work?
Jumping, ruining your car for a girl. So, okay, my dad. I'm going to tell a story...
Jumping shit.
Oh yeah, no.
I'm going to tell a story about my dad. And I'm going to tell a story about a life lesson my dad taught me. My dad is I wouldn't say he's not a handsome guy. I mean, he's not ugly or anything like that, but he's not Brad Pitt or whatever your vision of male attractiveness is. I mean, he's a fairly normal-looking guy. He's tall, he's chubby, especially when he was younger. When he was a teenager in his 20s, he was a chubby dude. And he had this sort of brick crew cut and stuff, as was the fashion of the day. And he could get any lady. Like, my dad dated Miss St. Louis in high school. The most beautiful, objectively beautiful woman of his age in high school. My dad went out with her.
Was he athletic?
Yeah, I mean, everybody was, like, all of his brothers and stuff, where they played basketball and such, but not like, he wasn't varsity or wasn't going to go pro or anything like that. My dad is very charismatic, right? And he could actually go into the scale of being ugly, and he would still score with chicks, because my dad is very, very charismatic dude.
Right.
He went into sales. He was a salesman until he retired. I mean, he could sell ice to Eskimos. He told me that the secret to getting a girl is that when you go to a party or you go out, you go to a club, you go to any of that sort of stuff, all the guys are so cool. They're just so cool. They just stand there, they got their sunglasses on, and they're smoking their cigarettes, and they're not talking to each other, and they're just so goddamn cool. And all the girls there want one thing. They want to dance. But all the guys are too cool to dance. So my dad dances with the girls. That's how he got all the girls. It's not just dancing, but it is this sort of guys can be too cool to talk to girls, which is real in reality just too afraid to talk to girls, but just go up and have a conversation. Not wreck your car jumping over railroad tracks or anything like that. But yes.
Okay.
So that was my story to vamp during the silence.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
My dad went out with Miss St. Louis as a teenager. Next, I will tell later.
Now, you left out the part where your dad's taller on his back.
My dad was pretty.
His opening line was, "You ever been speared?"
Maybe in one of the next recordings we do, I will tell the story about how my dad ran an unlicensed, illegal bar on the riverfront as a teenager.
That's amazing.
My dad is an amazing man. But that's a story for another day.
My dad's boring as shit compared to all that.
All right. I'm on a boat.
Okay.
I'm on a boat.
So as you guys take the boat down the Mississippi River, you get away from of course, the immediate place where you were docked. And as the city goes by, you can see this great clash between the parts of the city that are restored and in use and the parts that aren't. Because there are functional factories, there are buildings that are inhabited, there are places where people are doing business or tending little street corner gardens. And then you see parts of the city that are dilapidated, that are collapsed in on themselves. It's just picked over piles of wreck and salvage. And in some of those, you do see there are significant populations to some of those areas, but it's not the same kind of population that you see in the areas that are still well repaired. These are the people that don't fit within the system. These are the people that are not part of one of the great houses or not necessary to one of the great houses. And they exist in a society that is, it's, to borrow the phrase that Luke Cage borrowed from, I forget who it was, it's in a state of benevolent neglect. They're not harmed, but they, as long as they're not creating some kind of trouble that's so big it affects the order of things, they're allowed to just exist. And so there are people that live in makeshift housing. There are people that are even, you can see, going to makeshift schools, old churches that have been restored and are actually functioning places of worship. None of this, incidentally, functions on its own for the simple reason that a major metropolitan area, particularly an industrial one like St. Louis, is not a great place to get food, apart from the river itself. And so these areas do a lot of trade with the outside suburbs and farms and rural areas. And as a result, the population, none of these people look, I mean, yes, you always get your haves and have-nots. The vast, vast majority of these people are have-nots, because it's actually fairly hard for anyone outside of strong-arming or criminal means to raise themselves to the level of a have in a society that has so little to offer and so little to trade on. And so these people end up doing odd jobs, forming their own internal economies. And this is the sort of scenery that you've seen. You've seen it all before as you head downriver. And there are other boats. You do see other boats like yours. You do see other keel boats. You see flat boats. You do see functional steamships. And once in a very rare while, you may even see a functional diesel ship. And especially this close to St. Louis, it's also not uncommon to see guard posts or guard towers that have been put up along the riverbanks that are manned by uniformed soldiers who are keeping an eye on the river traffic in the surrounding areas. And
They just use like signal flags or
their actual system of communication, some of them they will use. Yes, they can use things like signal flags. They do also have flares. In some cases, they actually do communicate by radio.
oh wow.
So as for what each one is specifically outfitted with, you wouldn't know. But from watching,
Yeah, I was
them
just
long
thinking of the
enough-
strong naval tradition of signal flags. I didn't know if they had a system.
So in the first day, taking it fairly easy, because you're not scheduled to arrive in St. Genevieve until 3 days later, which means that for the most part, you guys can take this trip pretty easy, which is good because you have to take the downstream trips a bit slow and easy, because the upstream trips are a whole lot harder. Because going downstream, and you think it's been raining quite a bit to the north, and possibly to the west, because the current speed is up a little bit. You think you're making a clip of about right around 2 miles an hour just on the current alone, which is a little bit slower than a walking speed, but that's still pretty good to, keep things moving along down the river. It does rain a bit in the afternoon, which makes things uncomfortable, but this is nothing new to you guys. It's just a modest rain shower. You just sort of tough it out.
As soon as the drops start falling, you hear Pops go, "Told you!"
Possibly to a fork.
So as the afternoon wears on and it gets closer to evening, you hear Pops yelling, "Motamar? Motamar?
Motomar, yeah.
All right. He yells Mopar out.
I can run it.
Yep. Mopar! It's not an angry shout. It's just more of a, get you over the end.
Yeah, Pops.
He doesn't look at you. He's like on the front of the ship and he's kind of like looking out, reading the river like he usually does. And he's got like a sort of sketched map that he's, the river twists and turns and stuff. And so, they try and keep up with it.
The river leads to marriage.
So he's doing his usual thing, and he's like, "Fetch Annie," and Annie is his rifle.
Oh, okay. Yep. Run and grab it. Come back.
It's in a leather case. He's like, "Why don't you take it out?" He did say it. He take her out.
Okay. Pop the.
It's a bolt-action, high-power rifle. It's pre-war. It is immaculate. The wood stock has brass tacks hammered into it in a sort of swirling pattern. It does not have a scope. There's a bayonet in there, and the bayonet looks pre-war, and the bayonet lug is on there too. You're used to weapons that are cobbled together or whatever. This is very fine. And you've seen it before.
Yeah.
It's his gun. It's probably, other than the bow, it's probably one of the most valuable things he owns.
You want me to oil her up, Pops?
Annie's angry. She's always calling for blood.
I put my ear to her.
She's cursed.
Yep, I hear it too.
The others don't understand. They just think it's a tool. She's not.
Nope.
You ever killed anybody, Mopop?
Today?
Sure.
No.
Before today?
Yeah.
How many people you killed?
4.
He turns around and he takes out of his pocket and he hands you. He has like 8 or 9 rifle rounds, high power rifle rounds in there. And he takes one out and he hands it to you.
Take it.
And he takes another one out.
Take it.
He takes another one out.
Take it.
Takes another one out.
Take it.
And the rest he tosses into the river.
Bad ones?
They're all bad.
I go to throw the 4 into the river then.
I want you to do something with those.
Oh, okay.
Do you think that if I gave you Annie, you would only, for the rest of your life, kill 4 people with those bullets? As soon as you fired the last bullet and killed the last person, you never kill again.
Ooh. I can do that, Pops.
Annie's yours.
You want me
If
to?
you keep that promise.
I promise I will, Pops. And I'll put the bullets in the box and close it. I'll tuck it under my arm. Hey, Pops,
Yeah, my boy.
what's a Mowgli?
He stops. He kind of walks to the side. He leans and he looks all the way back at the thing.
She just waves.
And he turns around and he goes back to mapping.
Good talking with you, Pops.
So as the day goes on, around evening time, you guys, as the sky is starting to gray, not from the clouds now, but from the sinking sun, you are in the area around Cave Springs Park. Close to, I think it's close. It says that's the one attached to Jefferson Barry, so I'm not mistaken. But I think so. I don't freaking know, man.
Cliff Cave? That one's in Oakland.
No, wait. Hang on.
I want to get a river map and just put it right there.
I know. That's why he pulled my phone up. I really should get a map of the Mississippi.
Yes! You should get a map and put the phone down.
And we should all be required to read Wicked River
That's right.
before Eric kills our characters.
Okay.
Well, there's 3 bullets right here.
That's right.
And one for myself.
So you guys make it to the area of Cliff. I'm sorry, it's Cliff Cave Park, not
Yes.
Cave Springs. Excuse me, Cliff Cave Park, and the sky is starting to gray. It's generally not a good idea to continue river travel at night, and so seeing that the waters there look pretty good, Lillian makes her way. She passes the rudder off to Joe, and she makes her way up to Pops and says, well, I know there's a little bit of a cove just up there past that little cluster of trees. How'd you feel about me putting her in there and find something to tie up to her way in on for the night?
Do that. Take the flag down. put a lantern up on the mast. Light it up.
All right. So she calls she passes one of the oarsmen. She's like, take down the flag, run up a lantern. And she goes, and rest of you get the oars ready. As soon as that job's done, you come back down, you get on an oar. And she comes back to Joe and says, all right, let's see if you can get her in there without running her aground. I know,
yes, ma'am.
Sweet spot. Sweet spot. Made just for me, I fully believe. I believe that when the earth was formed, all of its twists and turns, all of its comings and goings.
Now, is out of character is putting a lantern up at the top of the mast? Is that normal protocol? I mean, do we want to advertise?
It depends, because on the one hand, it certainly does note that there's a ship there, which can keep other people from doing things like running into you in the dark.
Right.
If you're in a dangerous area, no, you sure as hell don't
Right.
advertise your
So this
presence.
is then that signals that this is either a relatively safe place or he's doing this deliberately for some reason.
That's also possible.
Right.
It is unusual. It is not like so wildly out of the ordinary that you can't come up with any reason for it.
Gotcha.
It'd be like seeing someone with a car pulled over on the side of the highway and they've got one of the road flares out.
Right.
I mean, it's not it's not what every car is doing,
Right.
but it's not so out of the ordinary that you feel the need to call the cops. So do with that information what you will.
All right. Well, then I will. I'm assuming that this is going to be. I will get to use my riverboat captain competence.
Yes. So riverboat captain. So you get all three of your dice.
Excellent.
This is going to be against. I'll go ahead and give it to you on perception because this is about reading the. Trying to figure out precisely how best to park it. So roll the 3 dice, pick the best 2.
Oh, that's really poor and poopy.
Okay, well, you still... Here's the thing, is if you had not had that... See, for those of you listening, he rolled a 3 and 2 1s. If you had not had that 3 in there, the 2 1s would have wrecked you something solid.
Gotcha.
So you still got the 4. The 4 plus the 7 gives you an 11. You ever so... Let me give a check on Lillian. Okay, so you come close, like there's a tiny bit of like, you can tell you bumped up against some shallow mud, and she catches it real quick, and between her rudder work and the oarsmen, they are able to sort of, cover for you and keep you off of anything, and so you guys eventually pull into this little side cove. And you have some view of the river, but there's enough trees to the sort of north and south of you that your view of the river is a little bit obscured, and ships would definitely have to get closer to see you. You can see them through the branches easier. Well, not for the light. The land off to the west of here, it once was a park. Now it's a mix of abandoned land, and some of it's used for farming and gardening and such. This is still well within the area of St. Louis's immediate concern. So there might be the random a-hole, but this is not like, you don't have to worry that the shoreline is going to be swarming with bandits trying to scalp you and eat your brain or something within the next 20 minutes.
Joe makes mental note to not control the rudder while he's drunk because with just his mere hangover, he did not do that particularly well. So he takes that lesson to heart.
So, they tie the ship up, and it's prep for the night. You still have a little bit of light left, so still kind of a little bit of a dusk light, but it's the ship's kind of down for the evening, and
As I can call him, I'll look for Lillian then.
okay. So one of Lillian's men goes into the actually jumps off the ship because you're in relatively shallow water, and makes his way to shore and starts carrying some stuff over and begins building a fire that he's using to cook food for the evening. And so while he's doing that, Lillian's just sitting up on top of the cabin, resting up against the mast, and she has a blanket sort of wadded up behind her for a little bit of cushioning against the mast. And when you come up there, she has with her three things that are sitting to the side of her. And the three things is she has... Actually, she waits until you get closer.
Okay. I come... Marshall's now a good time?
Philip, now is the perfect time. Because if you'd asked me to interrupt my meal, I sure as hell would not have done that. And if you'd asked me after my meal, there's no telling if I'd still be wanting to stay awake. So now is the perfect time. All right. So, first of all, I'm going to teach you something that is an old tradition. Anyone plying the waters, whether it's the rivers, large lakes, oceans, seas, any of it. It's one thing that always has to be there because of the fact that it fills the empty spaces, it fills your head. Because there's things you want to remember and things you don't want to remember, and this helps you with both. And she picks up the first of the items, which is a long, like a flute.
Uh-huh.
Not one like a modern day flute, held to the side. Something more like a recorder. And says, "Let me play you a little tune here, and I'll see if you can identify it."
Okay.
And she puts it to her lips. Not ringing any bells?
No.
Maybe one more time. Who bought the expensive wire?
He chuckles a little bit. So, Santa shouldn't have owned up to that, huh?
Well, the waters are full of shanties and tunes. You can sit here at night and you can listen to the wind blowing down the river and through the trees, and there's a song to it. And maybe this is just the talking of a lady who's been out here a little too long, is getting a little too old for this, but you start to hear music in all of it. Everything is the movement of the waves. It's like percussion to me. The wind sings, even Pops when he yells. There's a tune to it that I don't think he knows is there. All of it plays together. It's
How long have you traveled with Pops?
a long time.
1,000 years.
Is he acting different to you?
He's acting very different.
I pull out the rat, or the mouse.
Rat.
The rat, and I said, he carved this and gave it to me. Pops has never given me anything.
Except a fat
He
leg.
gave Joe his hat. And I think he gave Mortimer his gun. Why would anyone give Mortimer a gun?
Well, to answer that last question, that's an easy one. Mowgli there, look, this is a world where people all have to grow up real fast. Children don't get to be children for very long. I didn't even know what that meant until my grandma explained it to me one day. God rest her soul. But do you realize he was running around those woods, killing people and having people trying to kill him when he was still young enough to be shit in his drawers?
It's hard to think of him like that.
That's who he is.
I've heard the stories, but just doesn't seem like it when you...
Oh, but that's who he is. There's no denying it. In some way, he's more built for this world than the rest of us are. And that's a sad thing. It's not a happy thought. It's a sad thing that's the kind of world that we have. But I think in some ways he's built for it more than the rest of us are, because he's good enough at what he needs to be good enough at, and too stupid to think about the rest. You know what the problem is with people like, well, most of us? So you look around you and you see one of two things. You see history, or you see potential. And both of them are just a sad lot of trouble.
There's potential in history.
Before you start getting too philosophical on me, I wanted to show you something else. See, I've been keeping my own journals.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Got two of them. See, look here. I got this one that's got kind of a reddish burgundy color cover to it, and it's a lot like yours in that I use it to keep track of the weather conditions. See, look here. Every single day that I've been out here, and I start a new one every year, but here's this whole year. Every single thing that I've seen out here, every town we stop in, every person and note I meet, the weather conditions, the water conditions, wherever I note things. You see right here. Look, right here. This cove we just pulled into,
Yep.
Notice right here. And if I go back to right here, May 16th, same cove. This ain't my first time here. It's good to remember this kind of stuff. It's good that you think it, you practice it by writing it down. And then I have this other one here. It's got this one here with the dark blue binding. I guess it's silly, but I chose the dark blue one because it's the color of the night sky. I use this one to record what I see in the heavens. And, sometimes that's navigational things, but not usually. It's just sort of how it looks to me. And if I can't see enough to write it by a candle, then I write it down the next day. Which planets I saw, which stars I saw, how things looked, what it reminded me of, if I knew the names of any constellations, and if I don't, I just make them up. I just make up whatever sounds good to me, and sometimes you see something out of place. You see something left over from the old days just wandering around up there, or maybe falling from the sky in a beautiful little streak of orange or green. Write all of that down.
I never knew any of that, Miss Marshall. Is there anything odd in the sky tonight?
I don't know. Not dark enough to tell you. Once the sun fully sets, then I can tell you.
Is there anything odd about the cove we're in today?
She stops, looks around, like she's contemplating it, and looks like she's about to give you an answer, at which point something catches her ear. What's your perception, Wayne?
8.
Okay, so it's pretty high.
Actually, these guys all have like perceptions of thousands. They have their laser eyes and science trackers and
Dog ears.
yeah.
But you hear and anyone who wants to respond to this would hear the same thing, but off in the distance, and by distance I don't mean like miles and miles away, but river distances here, you can hear a chugging and splashing, and it sounds like there may be a paddle boat coming this direction. And she's about to give you an answer when she hears that and looks way back, and you can see through the branches just a couple lights, lantern lights or whatever, might be inside, might be outside. And sure enough, looking through the trees every so often, you can catch a little glimpse of coming downstream is a single paddle boat. So it's not a terribly large boat, single paddle in the back, and it's currently steaming its way downriver. It's hard to make out against the darkening sky, but there is smoke coming up from its stacks, and which are toward the front of the ship, and looks to be about 2 decks above water, and it's coming down this way. It's just not a terribly uncommon sight around here.
I look at it for a few minutes.
Wayne, give me, what is your competence?
Merchant and appraisal. Merchant is competence.
Okay, just give me a straight 2d6 plus perception. Okay, you see jack and shit. That was critical failure. Could go in other things, but it doesn't really matter because it's not like your eyes explode or something. So I'm not sure.
Snake eyes.
But the rest of us, it's fairly audible, or audible enough that the rest of us on the ship or some of us can hear it.
Yes. If you make any attempt to examine it, I'll give you a perception. It's like if you kind of, which I suppose makes sense. There's not outside of the guy cooking. There's not a whole lot to see
Right. So I know it's dark, and I know that the chances are very, very slim. But I've got sharp eyesight, and I have a rifle scope that I keep loose in a pocket that I use as a spyglass.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to take a look at it, and just to so I'm curious.
Okay. What's your
My reliability is remarkable eyesight, and I've got a rifle scope.
and your competence is?
My competence is riverboat captain.
Okay.
So riverboating.
All right. So I will certainly give you a reliability on this.
All right, and I'm using perception.
All
All right, so that'll be 16.
16. Okay. Plus you have a scope, so I'm going to allow you to see smaller things. The ship itself looks like might be a mixed passenger cargo ship. You're not sure without being able to see it too well. There are definitely passengers toward the fore of it, but you don't know what they've got farther back. Once again, not a massive vessel. They may attempt to steam a little bit farther downriver, or even to continue their journeys through the night. They might be well equipped enough to actually have lights that can, actually show them where they're going, or who knows what. But as you're looking at that ship, it's actually not that ship that catches your eye. Well, it does. But as you're looking at it, you notice that there are 2 fairly wide canoes that each of them appear to have about 4 people in them. So about 8 people total. And the canoes have pushed off from the shoreline a little bit behind the riverboat, and they are paddling fairly quickly up on its aft.
And the people on the steamboat, the people on the steamboat presumably can't hear the paddling because of the steam engine, the paddle, blah, blah, blah. And they're probably paddling fairly stealthily with, whatever wrapped around their paddles or yada, yada.
Bingo.
All right. So then I'm assuming that we don't have any sort of, do we have a bell or something that would make an alarm noise? Something that we would, basically alerting the crew. Oh crap, we're in trouble. We have a fire or.
Okay. If you warning 2 directions about making that kind of noise, it certainly will get everyone's attention.
But it will also get everyone's attention.
If it's that loud,
right,
then it's also going to get attention you may not
want.
Right.
So then I'm going to.
Where are you at? You're on the boat.
So my assumption is that I never really left the rudder.
Okay.
That I was just kind of sitting, just watching the ship, watching the river.
Which makes sense because the ship was headed southward,
right,
so the rudder would be northward.
All right. So then, I'll get up. I'll look for my first instinct is to look for Pops and to see where Pops is at.
Unless you're hiding, it's.
He comes up from below deck.
Okay.
And he has a scrap long coat that he calls Clanky Joe, and it's like kind of folded over. And he goes up to the side of the boat, and he tosses the scrap long coat overboard. And he's got a backpack.
As he's running, I'm going to try to...
running.
Oh, no. As I'm going to run up, and I'm going to try to interpose myself before Pops throws the scrap coat into the river.
Okay. Speed.
So I don't know. Yeah, my speed is
you guys
6.
want to do
Want to roll off?
Yeah, if you guys are at 2d6 plus speed,
so 2d6 plus speed, so I got a 13.
I got less than that.
okay.
All right, so I want to grab the coat, not Pops, and I'm like, you might need that. And then I'm going to hand you the scope, and I'm going to point in that direction and say, there are 2 canoes.
He puts his hand on your shoulder, and he pulls the backpack off, and tucked in, like kind of rolled up in the backpack, he pulls this piece of cloth out, and he hands it to you.
Okay. Pops, what is this?
I want you, when you go back home, Pops is like not the eccentric yelling. This is like really calm and weird. And he seems very calm. It's like, I want you to talk to the mayor.
Okay.
And I want you to fly that in the town square. For as long as they'll let you.
Okay. I'll do that. That riverboat's in trouble. There are 2 canoes that are sneaking up on it. I mean, they've got to be up to no good. We need to help them.
Is there anybody else on the boat? Meaning our boat?
Yeah.
I want you to take everybody, and I want you to get them off the boat. I want you to take everybody and go to Lily.
Why?
Because Lily's in a better position, and there's more men over by her.
You want us to leave the boat?
Yes. He takes the scrap long coat from you, and he takes it and he hangs it over your shoulders. Go.
This is...
Go.
Yes, sir. I'll grab the piece of cloth, assuming a flag, and, I'm just going to let the scrap long coat fall from my shoulders and go find Lily.
Okay, Lily's up. She's on. I mean, it's not hard to find her. She's up on the top of the cabin with Phil, and they're watching this. She's got her eyes squinted, looking at this quite.
Before I make a distance where Pops can't hear me, I'm going to say, you might need that. And then I'm going to look back to Lily as I make eye contact with him and then look down at the coat.
So where are you? Are you, because Pops is on the deck,
right.
Lily's on the cabin. Are you going up on top of the cabin? Or are you?
Well, if I can go to the base of the cabin and look up at her.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So like I'm on the deck, she's on the top of the cabin, and I can look up at her. Right. I just want to try to get her attention.
Okay. Seeing you, she kind of scoots to the side, drops down, and she's like, the scope. Give me the scope.
Yes, ma'am.
She takes the scope. She looks at it carefully, and for just a split second, she takes it and goes, "Oh, holy shit!"
What's wrong with Marshall?
Pops, we need to kill the lantern.
Get everybody off the boat.
Pops, you need to look at this.
Get everybody off the boat.
That's what I came to tell you. He told me to get you and get everybody off the boat.
He yells out, "Everybody off the boat!"
I jump off the boat.
Pops, what's going on here? You've been acting strange.
I'll tell you later. Right now,
All
gotta
right,
get off the
you
boat.
know what? I'm going to echo him. I'm going to yell too. Everybody off the boat. The captain said off the boat, off the boat.
Lily stands there, is like, "I'm going to ask you one last time. You need to take a look, please."
Come on, Miss Lily, you heard the man. Let's get off the boat.
She puts the scope down on the railing of the not the railing, like on the deck wall of the ship, the gunwale or whatever it's called of the ship, and then she complies and she goes down the side, but she puts that scope right in front of you.
I'm gonna take the scope. No, I'm serious.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm totally serious.
So as you guys evacuate the boat,
and you notice that, I don't know if you caught it earlier, he has a backpack you've never seen before.
I did not catch that. No.
Yeah.
And he has that backpack.
Yeah. In fact, he took the flag out, like it wasn't in it, but it was kind of like tied to the side or kind of shoved in there, and he did the backpack, pulled the cloth out, handed it to you, and then slung the backpack on his back again.
I run down to my locker and grab my stuff and shove it in my bag. I don't have nearly as many books at this point. The collection is starting to be built.
Right.
But I bring them with me because something really weird is going on.
Okay, so as soon as you guys...
Wayne, roll perception. Sorry.
That's okay.
I'm not sorry.
Wayne didn't
Whoa!
see it.
Snake eyes again! Okay, these two
Dice
are
jam.
going over there.
No, Broder, don't let those near your dice.
Can he do a reroll with the bullet? What can you do
yes,
with the bullet?
yeah.
We haven't used any yet. Let's use a mechanic.
Wait. Before we start burning bullets, when do they refresh?
They will refresh by next game, because next game takes place 5 years later.
Yep.
A 5-year refresh.
You heard it. I mean, it's law now. That's the rule.
Well, I don't know if it was X number of game sessions or yeah.
Yeah, no, we haven't done a bullet mechanic yet, so I will spend a bullet for a
Okay. So yeah, 5 years later, you'll have your bullets back.
Already
so.
better. 6, 7, 8. 14.
That is over
Good.
an average success.
You're familiar with the manifest?
Yeah.
You're familiar with what got put on board, all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There are about 4 wooden barrels, probably about yay big. As you run through the cargo hold to get your stuff and run back, you just, in your mind, you're like, what is that?
I stop and examine them.
It is, you touch them, they're wooden
Yeah.
barrels, but they're kind of like sticky. There's no markings on them. They're sealed shut.
I'm going to go ahead and leave the boat. I make mental note of them, but I'm sealed shut. I can't open them to see what's in them other than they're sticky.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, so you get to land with that scope, and as soon as you walk up, Lillian says, "Give me that scope again."
Yes, ma'am.
She takes one look and she's like, "Oh dear God!" She hands it back to you, and she's like, "Take a look."
All right, I'll take a look.
Okay, the canoes, because obviously they're fairly low to the water, have crept up now and have actually are holding on to these sides of the steamship behind or ahead of the paddle wheel, but still kind of towards the back of the ship. And you see something sparkling, like brilliantly well, not brilliantly, but it's not sparkling, so like it's reflecting light, it's creating light. So you see something sparkling.
Like a burning wick.
Yep. And you can see from each of the boats, you see those sparkling lights from each canoe launch up into the air and land on the front of the paddle boat fairly close to the stacks. And a split second later, there's a deafening explosion as the whatever it is they threw detonates, and almost like right on the heels of that, like boom boom, is a second explosion that blows off the entire front half of that boat. And there are metal parts, flames, everything shooting into the sky. If your characters, well, you probably recognize this, they landed those close enough that it just detonated the boiler.
Jeez.
And the front half of the ship, which is where all the people were, what you presume were passengers, or off-duty crew, you don't know which, were gathered. That whole portion of the ship is just gone. And the boiler, which is usually kept towards the front of those ships, not the back, was apparently caught up in that explosion and detonated. And the entire top of the ship was blown off. The front half of the ship is blown off. And the paddle has obviously ceased moving. And there are parts showering down around the water. There are parts showering down around the shoreline. You can hear, your ears are ringing. What you can hear over the ringing is you can start to hear people screaming. the front end of that ship is beginning very quickly to flood and to sink into the Mississippi River. And you can see people on there. If you keep looking through that thing, you can see people on there that are maimed, that are on fire, people that are jumping
I pull
overboard.
away from my eye. I can't look.
The individuals that are on the canoes, they actually at first seem startled enough by the shock and everything that they appear somewhat rather discombobulated. You don't know, because it's hard to tell from this distance, if they prepared for this. For example, were their heads wrapped or something like that? Were they prepared for this? They were certainly below the blast line, but
Is that cool?
yes, that is completely fine. But it goes off into the.
All right, where's the quiver?
As you look up the quiver, Pops has.
I was going to ask before you passed the note, I swear.
Yeah, I was about to ask, where is
Yeah.
Pops? Is he on the boat, or?
Pops has cut the line and has pushed the quiver off the shore.
Because when I find the barrels, I'm looking for Pops.
Um,
So he may not even know that I'm still on board because I didn't leave when everyone else did. I went down to get my stuff.
Pops has cut the line, and the
Yep.
ship is now, with basically the rudder jammed outward, is just drifting back into the current of the river.
Pops, what's going on? Why are we moving?
he stops. And he's like,
Someone snuck 4 barrels on board. They aren't on the manifest.
Pop
They're
slowly
sticky.
turns around. Is Philip a big guy?
What's your body?
5.
No, he's smaller than you are.
Pops looks at you and goes, "Come here." Takes you over to the side. He's pointing out at your crew.
Mm-hmm.
Does Pops know Philip knows how to swim?
He's lived on the river. It's
Yeah.
You can't live on the river or not.
Pops goes, "I'm so sorry," and he throws you overboard, or attempts to.
If you want to resist, we can go to an opposed body check.
Yeah, let's give it a try, see what happens.
Okay. Do either of you have something for or against physical combat?
Nope.
How wide do you want to make this interpretation?
What is it?
I'm a riverboat captain.
That's pretty wide.
I deal with working on recruit. I've dealt with river pirates my whole life.
What are your other ones? What's your life?
River reading, persuasion, land scouting, and survival. I just don't know how wide a berth these have.
Let's start with the base roll. You can also spend bullets to put things to add dice or to.
Oh wait, how many?
Two.
Sorry, two. Sorry, let me.
Just fucking roll everything you have.
Wow.
Okay, roll another d6 and add it to it. Okay,
Nice.
so that's 17 plus whatever your base.
All right, I
So-
go flying overboard.
He rolled a 25. Okay. Chad, I want you to describe this because you literally did this like at the peak of human performance. Okay, like this was a pro wrestling move. So I want you to describe for me because this was a massive critical success. So how precisely do you send him over, and how precisely does he land in the water? Because it's dealer's choice.
So he takes you over to the edge, and he's pointing out. He distracts you. He's like points out at the crew. And he's like, "I'm so sorry." And he takes his knee and he hits you with his knee. He hits you in the back of your knee that crumples you, right? And it's like it comes out in front of you. And then as you're falling back, he's taking you by the scruff of your neck, falling backwards. He scoops his other arm under your legs, lifts you up like, a groom carrying a bride, and just heave-hose you over the side.
Okay, so you do land on your back, so it's disorienting, but the air doesn't get knocked out of you. It's not a belly flop. It's not even a terribly far fall because the ship is laden, so it's not a terribly far fall to the water line. So you land as well as anyone can, being thrown into the river.
All right, and I struggle my way to shore.
So As
Do you
you're
want me to describe what they see?
hold that 1 second, because as you guys are on shore and as your ears stop ringing, you can see these individuals are climbing from the canoes up onto what's left, the bits of the back end of the ship that are left, and you do hear a few gunshots, and there you can see some people struggling. It's not a long drawn out fight. You can see it quite plainly now because of the fact that one, it's drifting downstream, and two, it's on fire. And so it's quite self-lit. And there is not much resistance from the people on board because, well, they're not in much position to do so. But I did look up boiler explosions, and people do survive those. So, not always, but people can survive those. So
Worst maritime disaster in the U.S. naval history.
Yeah.
It was on the Mississippi, and it was a paddle boat.
Yep, I actually was reading up on those before this game to make sure that I had the details down, even down to where the boiler is.
Was that in Wicked River?
Sure was.
Of course it was.
I got a whole chapter on it.
That's your homework.
I got mine just off of Wikipedia, but not just Wikipedia, but anyways. So, they're fighting over something. We're not clear what, but there is some conflict, admittedly one-sided and with both parties disoriented to some degree, one utterly disoriented. But it's more of a slaughter, but there is a brief struggle.
I'm going to grab Joe and say, Joe, we need to go. We need to go.
Go where?
We're next. I point at, we're next. We need to go.
Mortimer, that doesn't make any sense. That's a paddle boat. That's a pretty significant river vessel, right? There's something on that boat that those guys want. I don't think they're interested in us, and I think Pops is part of it.
Did the guys in the canoe, do they look like raiders? Are they dressed like...
You couldn't tell from this distance, but they seemed, quite frankly... If they're raiders, these are more high-end ones.
Okay.
Because they were too well organized with the explosives. They were too well equipped. They knew how to set off a boiler.
Yeah.
They knew the safe place to be from the blast in terms of not catching
So
blast.
these are like the equivalent of St. Louis House Commandos.
Maybe. You can't imagine. You don't know if they can
go
go
over there now.
I don't even know if they can. Well, no. But so what I'm trying to,
This was not some screaming... frothing bunch of Mad Max raiders. It was not that.
Right. This was a calculated.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't. Maybe you're right. And then I'll turn to Miss Lily. Miss Lily. I want to wait and see what Pops is doing.
Are you guys on like the edge of the river then?
Yeah.
Okay, so then you'll see me coming out of the water drenched.
I'm caught between trying to whisper in character and be audible enough for the mic to pick me up. You know what I mean?
Then Chase, she kind of looks up and down and says, then chase it downstream. You can make faster than he can on that boat by himself. But you keep your ass down in the brush and out of sight. Because if they see you, whatever these people are, you better hope that steamship's all they're after. Because if they're willing to deal with stuff like that, these are killers. These are not thieves. These are killers.
Miss Marshall. Pops just took the boat, but I think we were smuggling something.
Okay, so Chad, she looks in your direction. Mm-hmm. What is occurring on the ship?
How far away are we? Am I?
Okay, so you're going about 2 miles an hour. You've caught a current.
I'm assuming the guys in the canoes is Arturo.
You haven't looked.
Okay, fair.
Eric, that's an A, right? M-A-R?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how far away am I? I'm sorry.
From the shoreline or from
these guys?
I don't know. I've lost a little sight of time. We'll say 100 yards.
Okay. And it's dark.
Well, the gigantic fires, man.
Right.
But otherwise, yeah. I mean, it's dark-ish.
And the boat's got the lantern on it.
Boat does have a lantern on it. So, actually, you don't see Pops on board, but you see the current of the river has caught the boat, and it's starting to take off as much as it takes off. And suddenly there's a fire below deck. You can see the glow of the fire and smoke.
There are 4 sticky barrels that were snuck on board the ship.
Sticky barrels of what?
I'm not sure what was in them, but when I told Pops about them, he tossed me overboard and took the boat.
I'm going to scoop the scope out of her hand and take a look while this conversation's occurring.
Okay. What you see is...
and I'm talking about looking at the quiver.
Okay, right. You're looking at the quiver.
Yeah, I would look at the quiver because you said there's a fire coming from below decks.
Ship's on fire. I mean, I defer to Chad to describe the details.
I'm looking for Pops.
You do not see Pops immediately, and it looks like there's a fire that started below deck. You don't see a fire outside. Like, maybe there's, like, burning planks and stuff on the water, but you don't see any fire above deck.
Right.
But you see sort of smoke and the glow coming from the different ports and cabins and stuff. And it is spreading real quick.
Gotcha. Sorry, Wayne. I apologize for interrupting you.
That's all. I'm pointing that out to you guys. He took the boat.
What is going on?
Suddenly there's like this sort of something flares at the front of the boat, and then something flares in the middle of the boat, and that's like it just burns white hot. I mean, it's just like really bright, and the whole boat is engulfed. I mean, it went up really, really quick, and it is drifting down the river on fire.
And I put a hand on his shoulder. Pops was on there.
All right.
If Lillian, she points back towards what's left of the steamship, which is now, it's going to be only seconds before it's completely submerged. The individuals that were in the canoes have gotten back into the canoes, and while you can't make out the words, they're sort of shouting back and forth and seem to be agitated about something. And as soon as they hit the canoes, now that the boat's going up like aforementioned road flare, they point at it, and and you can hear one of them yell a couple profanities, and they begin making pretty quick, like they're rowing fast towards the soon-to-be-gone quiver.
Now the deck is starting to get consumed with fire.
We go now.
Do you have, so out of character, is your character holding the rifle? Do you have the case?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Does Miss Lily actually have an official rank?
No.
Like bosun or something like that?
She's first mate.
Yeah, I mean, you could call her first mate. She also sort of, she's a subcontractor in that she actually has the other oarsmen and such actually are under contract with her, so she's kind of a teamster in the old sense of the word. Not, well, she doesn't lead a team of horses, but you get my point.
All right. Miss Marshall, you need to take everybody else out into the woods and hide. Modamar and I are going to go a little bit downriver, and we're going to watch. We're going to just spend some time, see what's happening, watch this to its conclusion, and then we'll come back and find you.
I'm coming with you, Joe.
All right. You may want to get your rifle ready.
Okay.
All right.
And then we're going to kind of go and try to find a place, a vantage point where we can see and watch this thing resolve, but also be hidden, if possible.
Can I use my scouting for that?
What?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you get 3d6. Scouting's your competence, right?
My competence.
Okay, so pick 3d6 and roll them, add it to agility.
Okay.
And then you're going to pick I'll let you pick between agility and smarts.
Oh, well.
Okay, so your agility. Okay, so roll 3d6, pick the best two.
Okay.
So 9 plus your
16.
Okay, so you got a very. It's a success for you. Because a lot of things are in your favor. It's dark outside. The water is lit where you are is not. There's plenty of of brush and trees. You have plenty of places to hide.
Okay.
And at a 2 mile an hour drift, which is now no longer even perfectly holding with the current, and given the fact that a person can, make a decent effort walk at about 3 miles an hour,
Right.
And I'll let you use the extra points from that roll that these two, you're able to
Okay.
point out to them, hey, don't do that, whatever. So, you guys are able to follow it downstream as the boat goes up in flames. The two canoes do make pretty good time, going forward, because now it's starting to list as it drifts.
If that's cool.
That is completely fine. I will. This is because you never took the scope, just for your information. But
Okay.
The as the boat's now starting to go downstream, it's because it's no longer really under good rudder. It's starting to kind of rotate a bit in the current, so it's slowing down, and these guys they try to get close to it, but because the whole thing's wooden, there's not much to grab onto, and because the whole thing is going up in a fire so hot that are any of you traditionally educated?
No.
Okay. It's definitely boats. The way Chad's describing it, wood alone doesn't burn like this.
So, am I reading this correctly? Obviously, they attacked the paddle boat. They see that the quiver is on fire. They row furiously toward the quiver because presumably there's something on the quiver. They're basically trying to get to the quiver. My assumption is that there's something on the quiver that they wanted also.
I won't affirm or deny that presumption, but I will tell you your description of the events is correct. That they have now made it to the quiver, and what you can hear them talking about is, what if it's on that ship? And you see one look, you dumb motherfucker, what if you got the wrong boat? And they're kind of going back between each other like this. And it's like, well, then maybe I should make your stupid ass get up there and get it. And it's like, there is no way. You can't get on that thing. And they're arguing amongst themselves around the burning. And you can hear this because you're not too far from it.
Right.
I mean, this is going on, just a little bit out to...
Okay. I'll try to listen for clues of maybe anything that would indicate names or who they are.
I think this has to do with whenever we were smuggling.
If we were smuggling something, Pops was prepared for this to happen, right? I mean, this is no accident.
He didn't seem surprised that there was something on board that shouldn't have been.
Right. And I mean, he scuttled his own boat. I don't know.
Be involved.
All right, boys. There's no way they burn themselves alive in this. We checked the shores. We're going to take over here. You guys go back upstream to where this started. Look there.
So there's 8 of them?
Yes, 8 total. 4 per boat. 4 of them are heading toward shore, fairly close to here. 4 of them are heading to shore. They're rowing back upstream towards where, you guys left Lillian and some of the other crew.
Okay.
Now, you are in a position where you could attempt to hide, or you do have enough of a lead on them that you could run inland, and the chances of them finding you are pretty slim. So or you can set an ambush for them, it's your guys' call.
Or you can open up a lemonade stand.
Or you can open a lemonade stand.
All of my lemons were on the boat, you bastard.
That's why there's green sparkles.
I had all that fresh water.
When life takes away your lemons, fuck you.
I adjust Martha on my head a little bit more firmly, and I say, "We're gonna move further."
What did you do with the coat? Did you ditch it?
If you remember, I rolled it off of my shoulders. I looked at Pops and said, "You might need that."
That's right. So it went down with the
So it went down with the ship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or did it?
Or did it? So
Well, anyway, you don't have
it's
it.
slag at this point, right? But yeah, I'm gonna adjust the hat a little bit more firmly onto my head, as metaphorically taking ownership and saying we're gonna move inland. We're gonna make a run for it before these guys find us, and hope that Martha and the rest are okay. We'll lay low for a little while. All right, let's go.
All right, I'll lead them as best I can.
Okay. So you guys head inland. Do you eventually try to meet up with the... By the time that morning comes, you guys have gotten, especially with your scouting skills, you've gotten well ahead of and away from these people. So you're kind of controlling the scene. You don't even know if they are still looking for you. But if they are, you've got such a lead on them that you can kind of control what goes on. Are you going to attempt to find the remainder of the crew? What's the general...
I'm going to make sure that Joe and Philip are safe, and then I'll double back, and I'm going to see if I can see what's going on, if there's, and then come back to report to them if there's anything to report.
Okay. You eventually do find the Lily and her team.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the scene that you find is Lily is now sitting on the ground, and they did not make it nearly as far as you guys did. As you approach them, you see the 5 of her men gathered around her, and she's sitting on the ground, clutching at her gut, and they are holding her up. And upon hearing you guys coming, one of them stands up and is reaching for a weapon, but seeing that it's you guys, they motion you over, and he crouches back down next to her.
I'll go right up to her and check her out. I have a reliability in treating traumatic injuries.
Oh, you do really? Wow. Okay. All right.
He goes up there and sticks his finger in the
Sorry,
hole.
need to stop the bleeding.
Don't take this out.
I cough more when I laugh.
All right.
Unfortunately, my smarts is not real.
All right. 2d6. Your reliability. So yeah, 2d6 plus smarts. A critical failure is ignored. So if you snake eyes this, so 7 plus what's your
Plus my
smarts?
smarts of 4, so 11.
11. Okay. All right. What has happened to Lily is, as you get her to move her hand away from the wound, she's not been shot or anything. During the blast, when the boiler went off, a piece of the boiler's shrapnel from the boiler hit her in the gut.
Okay.
And she apparently has been hiding this wound.
Okay.
And by this point has lost enough blood that she's not looking good. And you are able to understand that about the wound. Though you don't have a name for it, probably, that there's a major artery that runs through the gut. This would be the descending aorta.
Right.
And if that's nicked, the chances of saving her are basically nothing.
Okay.
And at this point, she's shivering. It's a cold day to begin with, but she is shivering intensely. She is, starting to go pale. Her eyes are somewhat unfocused. If she's not, once again, I'm not sure you have these terms, but the concepts. But if she's not in shock yet, she ain't far from it.
Right. All right, so I'll kneel, as she's sitting there, I'll just kind of kneel in front of her and I'll look at her and I'll go, through piece.
Her head is upward. You're not sure if she's looking at you or just her head is in your direction. And she says, Pops?
I'll pull my knife. I'll lean down next to her. I can stop it now.
Pops.
And then I'll look over at Phil and Joe.
We don't think Pops made it.
She takes out her flute, holds it up a little bit, hand shaking. One of her people helps support her hand. And she says, River's nice song. Damn fool. And then her chest sinks and her head rolls back.
I lean down and I'll take the flute from her hand.
The Hermen stand up and they all take off their hats and
he's basically, I'm just sitting there like kneeling in shock and just looking down at the flute with, it's probably from where her hand was, there's probably blood, fingerprints on it.
one of them and says, west of here, I know there's a farm. They can at least get us back on a road. Maybe we can catch somebody nice enough to take us back north. All right, let's find what we can. She deserves a proper burial. Here's as good a spot as any other. And once we get her buried, I guess you guys head on back. I'm going to go look downstream, see if I can find anything left of Pops to bury. If I do, I'll find some way to box it up and bring it back to Herman. Bury him in his home to soil.
Joe wipes some tears away from his eyes.
I get up, and are they digging a hole to bury her, or are they?
Yes.
Okay.
They're starting to dig a hole.
I join them.
Okay.
I'll catch up with them and say, they're not going to find anything with Pops. He died on the water, and that, I said, the quiver burned like nothing I'd ever seen burn before. But Philip's right. There was something on that ship that Pops did this on purpose.
Joe, what separates a good man from a bad man is the trying. I don't expect to find a damn thing. But I wouldn't be a decent man if I didn't at least try.
Then I'll try to be a decent man, and I go with him.
Okay. You guys bury Lily. Never do find the remains of Pops, though you do find some burned and broken boards that you're able to, as best as you can, based on their appearance and location, identify as the bits and pieces that are left of what was once the quiver. The vast majority of the boat's gone, and even what you do find is heavily burned and is now just mementos if you care to, and otherwise nothing.
What was the guy I was speaking to at the end? What was his name?
Let's go ahead and give him a name. His name will be Alondro. Al, if you prefer. Five years later, on a autumn day, not so different from that one, the Winding Oak sits tied up.
Well, actually, I would like to change the ship's name. It was the Winding Vine, and now I want to call it Miss Lily's Vine.
Okay, Miss Lily's Vine is tied up along the banks of Herman, prepared to take on its cargo, and prepared to strike out downriver. Now under a new captain, and with a new set of people.
I'm sitting on the boat. They're waiting for me to look over the paperwork, but I'm playing a song on the flute. And I won't do the paperwork until the song's done.
I'll look over at Lee, as he's the newest member of the crew we obviously know each other, but then I'll look at him and I'll say, Lee, what's a Mowgli?
Oh, that's got to be cut. Fade to black. Roll credits.
No, Chad, I will now give you. You can do if you can still know. No.
Yeah.
This is the end. But I'm just noting, Dan and Chad, right? Game is over. You have a copy of the Jungle Book.
That is fantastic.
He just goes,
All right.
see.
I knew you were gonna make us like her and then fucking kill her. I was like, oh, this bitch is dead. I was like, she's great. There's no way.
No, there was a way to keep her alive. There was a way to keep her alive. I had in my head a series of things where she was not. I knew that if she was too close to the bank,
right,
that I was going to eliminate her. If you guys had taken some different actions, like you headed inland quicker or something like that, or if somebody had taken the time to actually take stock of the condition of the crew, you might have been able to save her before she lost too much blood. But
I'm a 16-year-old kid. I mean, sure, I'm an adult, quote unquote, but I mean.
So, question: did Pops meet all of his objectives? Did you fly the flag in Herman?
So, well, I mean, I didn't know we were going to get to that now, but yeah, I mean, I have a note here that, later Pops gives me flag to ask Mayor to fly as long as the mayor will let the flag fly. So absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely did what I could. Yes. I don't know if the mayor will allow it, but yeah.
Okay. So for those of you that are at home, I posted with the prior show the character outline that I gave Chad that had in there a list of about 6 objectives I wanted him to meet. It was actually, 5, but because one of them broke into 3 parts. Yeah. But yes, Chad, you have met all of those objectives, and I will give you I will give the group some kind of benefit for you having met all of Pops' objectives in the next game. So all the things I wanted you to do with Pops before his immolation was
his grand finale.
His grand finale was okay. So post game, what'd you guys think? What worked? What didn't work? What'd you like? What'd you not like? What's the spit take on?
I like Pops.
Yeah, Pops was weird.
Yes.
Pops was very bizarre.
Yes.
But
that wasn't me. I did not make any single thing about that character. That was all of Dan's character.
And you know what?
The only thing I didn't get to was the ants. Well, I couldn't work ants in.
On the advice portion of Fear the Boot, we talk about 1, trusting players,
right,
and 2, we talk about having people take on major NPCs. And this was both. Chad, that wasn't Chad's character. Chad's character is Lee, who will be introduced in the next game. Chad was playing a character I completely wrote from the ground up. I gave him, here's the character's history, here's his personality, here's his stats, and here's what I want you to accomplish. And I don't know how you're going to get there, but here's what I want you to accomplish in the course of this game. And there were a couple ways things could have worked out. There was not a railroad. There were a series.
I would say you gave me objectives, and then you gave me a couple of tools.
Yes.
And I could use the tools or not. Actually, there were a couple of tools I rejected. In fact, I even told you I'd no on this one.
Yeah.
And then yes on this other
and
one.
I had to trust that Chad's going to play this character within the spirit that I intend. And on the flip side, I cannot constantly micromanage how he does this. I have to roll with this and accept that as part of he's creating canon for this game, and I have to trust he's not going to screw me. And so that's there you go. Yeah. And I think it worked out great, because what I really wanted to get out of this game was, 1, get a prologue, right? But more than that, the great thing about this game from a game mastering perspective was it stands alone. Because I did, 2 of you, I've never gamed with before. 2 of you I haven't gamed with in a while. I have never gamed with this particular mix of people.
Right.
And so I didn't know what's the group dynamic going to be like, what's going to motivate you, not motivate you, what sorts of things are you going to care about or latch on to. And so I wanted something that stood alone, where if it just totally blew goats, it wouldn't matter. I can reset real easily on the next game, or if it works, well, then I can carry a lot of that to the next game. And so this was a great chance for me to sort of take everything out for a test drive and get a read on, well, and also give you, Wayne, one of the things you've talked about a lot is that you don't fully understand a character until you've played them.
Yeah.
And so it was a chance for you guys to try and understand your characters individually and in context of each other.
Well, and one of the great things is if we don't like something about the character's personality, 5 years have passed.
Yeah.
Right.
They've changed. They've seen things in 5 years. But it gives you that starting ground.
Right. And it gives you a great opportunity for callbacks, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the first time Joe sees somebody drinking while on duty on the ship, they're in trouble.
Right. Well, you can also make up things that happened in the interim time. Too.
Right.
So you could do a callback to something that, just...
Yeah, it goes back to that episode we did about time jumps and the ability to, in the course of the 5 years, what have you been doing? Like, are you monosyllabic 5 years from now?
Monosyllabic. What is that role-playing game where you're only allowed to know 6 words?
Oh, yeah, it's like the cave. Oh, yeah.
You play caveman.
That's not
caveman.
UG, right? Is it UG?
Might
Is it
be
just
UG.
UG? I think it's just UG,
Yeah, you play caveman, and you have to agree ahead of time that there are 6 words, and that's the only 6 words that exist in the game.
So I added Lillian's flute to my character sheet. And in the 5 years, he learned how to play.
I really liked the idea of, it sounds cheesy, totems, artifacts, and that Pops, in your guys' history, Pops is such an important person. And Dan, when he, not only did he give me a write-up of the characters and the objectives and the tools, he also gave me a completed character sheet with equipment. And so I got this idea is that I wanted to give each of your characters something of Pops, like a totem of
So yeah, he got the rifle. Brodor got the hat.
Right.
Who got the flag?
The flag.
town did.
So the town got the flag, right?
The town got the flag. Wayne, what did you get? I know
He got
Carved rat.
the most important piece of
he
all.
got the carved rat, right?
Because as a game master, I kind of put on my game master hat when I was playing Pops of I want to advance plot, and I want
No, you
to...
wear that hat every time you whatever character you're
that's
playing.
true.
Don't it wasn't it wasn't like in an isolated Pops incident, right?
I wanted to create mystery for the characters, and I kind of saw some stuff that Dan was doing. And I wanted to make threads for you guys and give you the threads and give you pieces that you can potentially explore or not.
Right.
So-
I saw it as Pops was like ceremoniously shedding the past. And, he's like, he's passing on these things. He's cleansing his soul because he knew he wasn't going to survive.
Right. And out of character, I knew what was going on with the coat. But in character, I was like, 1, I refuse to accept this.
Right.
And 2, I mean, I'm not that nuanced. I don't know precisely what's going on. So
I can. Here's the bullet points because this is spoiler free. If I was to show you Pops, this full character would have some spoilers on it. But here's Pops' personality, because I've talked about bullet pointing personalities. And if this was an incidental NPC, I'd have given Chad a flashcard.
Right.
But because this was a more major NPC, I was okay with giving him a little bit more to work with. So here are the 6 points of Pops' personality. Number 1, if there's too much activity without purpose, he has trouble focusing. It will unnerve him to the point that he will lash out.
When he was on land, I hope that I was able to communicate that his personality was different than on the boat.
Well, that's
He was
number 2.
eccentric, he was angry on land.
it's so funny because one of my first bullet points for my character I wrote is my demeanor is different on the boat versus off the boat.
Pops is number 2. He loves the river and everyone on it, including his adversaries, which didn't come up in this game, but could have. Conversely, he hates the land and anyone that makes their trade there.
Like that guy.
Yeah.
And you really, I mean, you went crazy. I mean, spinning in his book.
This is the one Chad didn't get to. Third, he believes the only good thing on land is ants because they lack disorder. Particularly when drunk, it's not uncommon to hear him expounding upon the virtue of ants.
I could not figure out how to work that in. Ugh.
Fourth, he names inanimate objects, even banal ones, and treats them all as if they had personalities.
So do you guys remember the names of the objects that?
Yeah, Martha.
So
I refer to it as Martha.
So there's out of character and somewhat in character. Some of them are puns, but they all mean something.
Right.
So the rifle is Annie.
Right.
Annie Oakley.
Yeah.
The hat, I had written the description of, it was something like motherly and hush, and that's when you came running up to me. I put it on you, and I'm like, hush.
Right.
So the cheesy out of character thing, name is Martha.
Yeah.
Which is super.
Why did you say that?
Why did you say that? It's
The whole time you were saying Martha,
Yep.
that was going through my head. Was why did you say that name?
Now you've ruined the hat.
Why did you
for
say
me.
that name?
Fifth, he's a man of honor, decency, and compassion. He sticks to his word. And then sixth, he fully trusts the ship's first mate and helmsman, Lillian Marshall.
So he's a man of honor and trustworthy, etc., except for when he's roped into some nefarious deal where he's smuggling goods and burns down his own ship to prevent, I don't know, whatever fucking St. Louis House Commandos, their Black Ops team from stealing it.
This is great. Broder's already building conspiracy theories.
Well, welcome to Gaming with Brodor. My brother's going to listen to this and he's like, "Fuck, I hate that." Because he's so tired of it. Doesn't matter what game. We're like, we're going to play My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, and I'm like
the Bilderbergs. The Bilderbergs are doing this.
But with all of that, I tried to put a couple of clues in there. And that's why I didn't give Wayne a piece of equipment.
right.
Pops sees Wayne as, well, sorry,
The smart
smartest,
one.
the smart one.
Sure, no argument there.
And he did a thing. You'll have to figure that out.
With Annie.
Yeah, out of character, the one guy was the Rat Man, so
Right.
I'm assuming it's tied back to him.
Do you remember what the thing was? So I carved a rat. Do you remember other stuff about it?
You put the X's over the eyes.
You gouge them forcefully, in fact.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say is you gave me 4 bullets
Right.
and said 4 more. Those are for 4 more lives, and when you're done, you don't kill anybody else.
Yep.
I just wrote down that I only have 1 bullet left. And
After 5 years?
After
Wow.
5 years, I only have 1 left.
Wow,
That's
that's
brilliant.
neat.
Oh,
brilliant.
Really cool. I like that.
That's
I-
super cool.
The on Pop's character sheets, Dan has the number of bullets written down. And so I wanted to give you the gun because when you were making your character, you're like, okay, well, I'm going to get a rifle. It's 3d6. And I'm like, ooh, opportunity. Hey, trust me. Please trust me. This is going to be cool. And when I gave you the gun, I wanted to make the weapon memorable. So it's very fine. It's pre-war. It's also decorated. It has the brass tacks and the design and all that sort of stuff. And you're playing an Ist who, I mean, you've killed people. Your character has killed some people in some very messy ways.
Right.
And Pops, in my mind, Pops took you away from that. And Pops isn't a killer.
Right.
And he took you away from the killing. But Pop's also a realist. And that's why, how many people have you killed? And then we kind of played with it a little bit, but then you said 4. I killed 4 people. Pops had 4 bullets on the character sheet. And so I said he's got like 8 bullets or 9 bullets, and then he gives you 4, and then he throws the rest in the river. He's like, were those bad? I'm like, oh, thank you for saying that. I'm like, they're all bad. And I like how your character's a little crazy too. Because he's like, because I had written on there that the gun, Pops puts personality on items. So the gun is cursed and it calls for blood and it has a name, and he's like, and I said that just right off there, the gun is cursed. And you were great. You were like, I know, I hear it. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah, he's a lunatic. That'll be a nice piece of Pops that carries on for the rest of the campaign.
So Wayne,
Until you read Wicked River.
That's right.
so Wayne and Chad, did it have a good Skies of Glass feel to it? Did it?
This is a very, very different feel because it's on the river. And the Skies of Glass games that I've played are in a wilderness or in a small town or going between those things,
Right.
transitioning through those things.
The themes are definitely still very much there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
St. Louis was the type of thing I would expect to see. I think we will probably have a lot of bartering in the game.
Well, I hope we really get into exploring St. Louis because from what I know of it, playing through the years and talking to Dan about it, I mean, we saw nothing. And that is nothing. You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Chad is not incorrect. What you guys saw was like seen through a fog at a distance.
Mm-hmm.
You saw the tourist sites of North Korea.
Yeah.
You did not see North Korea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the bartering was a little clunky when he's trying to buy a drink and all
Well, I
of
wasn't
that, so-
expecting that, so I didn't.
Yeah.
I need to work that
That's
out.
what- that is something I think more so than other Skies of Glass games we've played.
Yeah.
Because of the nature of this one, we're going to be doing a lot more bartering. Than
Yeah, like the economy is going to be an important part, right?
Yeah, well,
because that didn't really come up a lot in a lot
Oh, I'm
of
sorry,
the
I'm
other
sick.
games.
You're disgusting.
I know, I'm disgusting. I was worse on Tuesday. I mean, it's been a rough week.
Actually, I think your sickness really actually did well for this because when you were drinking, you're like,
Well, yeah, I let those just go, right? And kind of, you know.
But yeah, when you did that bartering, I wasn't prepared for it at all, and
oh, I loved it. Who bought the fancy water?
but I decided, well, I can grab a quick reference sheet I've got online.
It rains for
But
free.
I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this.
Yeah.
Because it's like, does it really matter what that water sold for?
No, not in this story.
It's like, yes, it might matter later, but for this moment, I'm not going to stop the flow of the game to
Right.
reverse calculate exactly what a barrel of spring water would go for.
Yeah. Right. So it didn't matter. What mattered is that we got water. Wayne's character, Philip, achieved his objective.
He felt like he made a great deal for the ship.
Right.
And he has the proof for his free barrel of water next time.
Right.
Because that
And
was
whenever
to use.
and whenever you fuck up, Joe is going to hum "Who Bought the Fancy Water."
That's a good character mode too because it's like I could see this being like your first real deal. I mean, you bought and sold stuff before, but this is like I'm gonna do it then. I'm gonna do it. I got this. I got this. Like wah wah. Although, did he get screwed? Did he get screwed on the water? Although the fact that he's buying expensive water is an extravagance, but
I'll put you this way. For a Hello Kitty collectible he got off of eBay, it really is a good deal.
Wow. That's hardcore.
No, I mean, he really did. Yeah, I mean, he really did get actual Merrimack spring water.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was that worth buying at all?
Yeah, just imagine 10 game sessions from now, Philip's going to find a book talking about how people bought bottled water, and he's going to be like, see, people bought fancy water.
I'm ahead of my time.
Yeah. Should we clean these off?
And I don't there's no need to really, unless you're going to.
I didn't know if it stains.
Yeah,
I assume it
that's
does
why I
not.
I would assume not.
All right, great.
I mean, if it does, that's a dry erase marker, so I'll just use some of that spray.
Gotcha.
Or
When we're done recording to you, I want to talk to you about this.
okay, so
Show related,
okay, so
not AP related.
right. Okay, so closing off the AP. Any final comments on the game overall? Yay, nay?
No, the amount of mechanics that were involved, I thought was spot on in terms of we used the mechanics when they were necessary, but if failure wasn't interesting, we didn't waste time with it. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and there were 2 times that I did something just to get the mechanics out there.
Right.
Like when Chad mentioned the bullets, like we haven't used them yet.
Right.
I'm going to use one just because we haven't used one yet.
Yeah.
And there was something
It's a
else,
good
I
call.
can't remember what it was. It's like
Although
when you're like, when you
refresh.
I think when you were going to resist Pops throwing
Yeah.
Philip off the boat, you're like, normally I'd let it go, but fuck it, let's see what happens.
That's exactly it. That was the other point. Is I know I'm going to be thrown off the boat. I have a body of 5.
Yeah.
I want to see what the mechanic is for it. So
Right.
And we were able to test the limits, too. It's like, okay, does Pops have anything that could give him a bonus? Like, well, Sea Captain, how far are we taking this? He fights river pirates. Well, not so much. No, I mean, it was totally legit to shoot that down. I wanted to see what the boundaries were for the rules, too.
Yeah, that's descriptive skills are always kind of a rough one for that exact reason. Is the better someone is at debating, the easier it is, and also depending on the game master, the easier it is to convince them that anything is relevant.
Yeah,
right.
Well, and that's the big complaint against Fate.
Fate, right.
But I think Fate, that is a weakness of Fate, and Fate owns it. It's like, that's part of it, and make it fun. You know, you're supposed to do these wide interpretations so that you get to feel clever and funny and that sort of thing.
All right, cool. I'm going to kill the recording, so thank you guys for listening, and we will do this again in 2 weeks.
Fuck 'em! Who wants that fancy water?
That was great. Like, I wouldn't do this in character, but I thought about finding the cistern and putting a bullet through it.